Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. At the outset, please allow me to wish you a purposeful and successful 2025. Welcome to the Ministry of Public Works 2024 Year-End Press Conference. Please allow me to introduce you to the members of the head table. To my right, there is Honorable Bishop 1A Edgehill, Minister of Public Works. Beside him, there is Honorable Minister Deodat Indar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works. Permanent Secretary, Mr. Vladimir Prasad, and Mr. Ron Rahaman, the Coordinator of the Work Services Group. I also wish to acknowledge the chairpersons of the various agencies within the Ministry of Public Works and the management team, which comprises the heads of the various agencies, programs, and departments, as well as the other staff of the Ministry of Public Works that are in attendance. Esteemed members of the media and persons who are joining us virtually, thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon for what is an important initiative that is done annually by the Minister of Public Works to provide accountability to the Guyanese people for the work that has been undertaken by the Ministry of Public Works. I am Elsie Harry. I will be the moderator for this afternoon's proceedings. This press conference will take the following format. There will be presentations by members of the head table, beginning with Minister Edgehill. Thereafter, Minister Edgehill will invite the heads of the various agencies to make presentations about the work that falls under the purview of their various agencies. There will be an opportunity for questions following the presentations, so we crave your indulgence to retain your questions until all of the presentations have been concluded. All of your questions should be directed to Minister Edgehill, and Minister Edgehill may ask the members, and Minister Indar, my apologies. All questions should be directed to Ministers Edgehill and Indar, and the ministers may ask the heads of agencies to provide additional details. Without further ado, I give the floor to Honorable Bishop 1 Edgehill, Minister of Public Works.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. My esteemed colleague, Minister Deodat Indar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, the Accounting Officer and Permanent Secretary, Mr. Vladimir Prasad, Mr. Ron Rahaman, Coordinator of the Work Services Group, heads of agencies of the CGIA, GCAA, Guyana National Shipping Corporation, Transport and Harbours Department, Maritime, the Canal ferry service, the Asphalt plant, the Demra Harbour Bridge, the Special Projects Unit, and our Sea and River Defense Department. I'll make some brief remarks, and then my colleague, Minister Indar, will make his remarks. I mean, as much as this is a minister's press conference, we brought the heads of our agencies, and they will provide you with synopsis of our achievements and our successes in 2024, and then we will open the floor for questions and answers. But let me, from the onset, indicate that we believe that 2024 was a very, very successful year at the Ministry of Public Works. When the Permanent Secretary gives his report, you'll get the numbers and the details. Even though I have them, I will leave that to him. But I want to highlight 4 things before I take my seat and we proceed. The success at the Ministry of Public Works must not be viewed in isolation. One of the main reasons why we'll be able to be successful is because of the strategic policy formulation that takes place at the highest level. And at this point, we want to acknowledge the leadership role of His Excellency President Dr. Mohamed Yofanani, as well as Vice President Dr. Barjabio, in working in the policy formulation of many of the things that we are doing and we're advancing. And just to indicate that while this may be the Ministry of Public Works, and most of you will have reported we have the largest budget, and we're undertaking many things, we don't operate in silos. We are one government, and we want to acknowledge the work and the relationships that we were able to enjoy with other members of the Cabinet. So that's the first thing I want to highlight. Our success is because of strategic policy formulation. Secondly, I want to highlight what I believe has been a plus for us, and that is great teamwork. The men and women that I have invited to join us today, they're not here for the photograph. They're here because as a ministry, we work together as a team and we engage in that manner. And while we may have an agency that is specialized in one particular area, the support and the inputs from other agencies to help that agency work makes a big difference. Like for example, when we had challenges with Canal, Transport and Harbour sent MV Sandaka because we're a team. And we didn't just say the Canal is done. We're a team, Transport and Harbour is known to Canal and MV Sandaka to ensure they keep service going. That's how we've been working. The third thing that I would like to highlight that is very important for us as we report to you in 2024 is the cooperation that we have received from our citizens at the regional level, at the community level, with the many local authority areas and Amerindian communities where work was done, still being done. The cooperation of those citizens and their consideration in allowing us to proceed even in the face of inconveniences has been remarkable. And you would have realized, ladies and gentlemen of the media, and those of you who follow us, we have been able to get this done because of the sheer magnitude of community consultations that would take place. Whether it's building a road, a bridge, a ferry stelling, sea fences, putting in street lighting, whatever it might be, the community, the citizens who are the ultimate beneficiaries have been very, very supportive. And without their support, a lot of what was accomplished would not have been accomplished. And the fourth thing that I would like to highlight as a success in the year 2024 is the synergies that we enjoy with other agencies. In January of this year, one of the first items on our agenda was to bring together a number of agencies, more particularly on all the utilities government as well as private sector. Because whenever we are improving infrastructure, engaging with the utilities is very important. We have signed MOU and we have enjoyed excellent cooperation. Everything has not been perfect, but I would like to take this opportunity to highlight the synergies that exist between the various agencies, getting our program going. There's the Ministry of Finance and the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board, whereas the GPL, GWI, and GT&T now One Communications, DigiCell, NDMA, E-Network, wherever they might be, the Ministry of Housing and Water, the Lands and Surveys Department, and we also would want to express our deep appreciation to the judiciary, because in advancing many of these projects, whenever we hit roadblocks, we have to find independent arbiters to determine how we move forward. And Government of Guyana, Ministry of Public Works, initiated action to ensure that an independent arbiter will ensure that adequate and fair compensation is given to every Guyanese who was displaced because of the transformation in terms of our infrastructure. And the judiciary is quite patient and understanding, and we'd also like to acknowledge the synergies here. The Attorney General's Office in the Ministry of Legal Affairs has played a very key role in terms of our legal framework. Last year you would have seen us lay the engineers bill in the National Assembly. We were able to complete the Sea and River Defense bill. We have regulations for the GCAA that were tabled. We have regulations of the Sea and River Defense Board that was tabled. And all of that was only been done with the support that we received from the Attorney General's chambers and the Ministry of Legal Affairs. So whatever we say and do this afternoon will be framed within that context. Policy direction, strategic policy direction that came from His Excellency the President and the Vice President. Secondly, the teamwork, and that is why even though we have the heads of agencies and brought to the head table, we have other members of our staff who are part of our team in case you need any other information, whether it's in procurement or finance or any specialized area, aerodromes. It was one big team. And thirdly, the engagements that we've had at the community level, the Regional Democratic Councils, the NDCs, the CDCs, and working with the Amerindian communities as well. And then the synergies that we enjoy among agencies. The details of numbers and figures are coming up, but I would like to invite the Honorable Minister Deodat Indar to make his remarks, and just to remind that even though electricity falls under the office of the Prime Minister at the Ministry of Public Works through the Honorable Minister Deodat Indar, he is also the Assistant the Prime Minister on electricity, so he may make some remarks in that regard as well. Thank you very much. Minister Indar.
Thank you very much, my colleague, Honorable Bishop Wanajo. Thank you very much for the partnership with the Ministry of Public Works and to my team here present. The other half of the team is not here, which is the energy side. But I will raise a few remarks before we get into the meat of our discourse this morning through the heads of agencies. I would like to first say and echo the sentiment of the Minister, who said that we have had the success rate. Now, we can judge the success through many lenses, but today we will show you all the magnitude of the work that our government has undertaken in 2024 through the Ministry of Public Works. I can tell you that the team here in front of you has managed over 4,500 projects. That tells you about design, it speaks about procurement, it speaks about mobilization payments, it speaks about progress payments, it speaks about inspection, it speaks about final evaluation, final payment, and everything else. That entire process for over 4,500 projects. And that 4,500 project, under $15 million, is about 3,565 of them. And between 15 million and 50 million, another 552 projects. So you can see small contractors throughout the length and breadth of Guyana has been engaged by this ministry. From community, from region 1, straight 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the regions, and in Georgetown as well. You find that we engage our people at the community level to develop capacity because of the massive work. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the President, the Vice President, and the Prime Minister for that leadership to ensure that the build-out of the country, that persons in the community participate in the build-out of the country. And that is widespread. It is widespread. Throughout the country, we see some project that is happening and the Ministry of Public Works is managing that. The second thing I would like to say this morning is the difference between urban life and rural life. You know, most times when people come to Guyana, they go to the main road, they see all of the housing development, all of the new hotels, all of the main access road, and so on. That is the coastline. But our government has ensured through this ministry and others as well, there's a whole ministry to deal with our communities, but through our ministry, you will see from the work services group when they go to farm to market access roads, when they go to air strips, when they go to hinterland roads, when they go to bridges, when they go to concrete roads, in every single region, every single community, we are working. We have projects there. People are feeling government expenditure in a positive way. Works are being done, completed to the benefit of the entire population there, and not just where the visitors come but every single place. You will hear names of villages that you didn't never heard before, and we are doing works. Our team is on the ground doing works. So at this point, I would like to thank the team that is before you, but also the team that is not before you, which is the engineers that are placed everywhere in the country. They are there and they're doing work as mandated by the ministry's leadership and the cabinet's directions. I would also like to say that I 100% agree with Minister Eju's point about interagency collaboration. When a bridge is broken on the East Bank because of the heavy laden trucks, we ask the Demerara Harbour Bridge to come and help us. If WSG can't do the work, the Demerara Harbour Bridge come with their team and they do the panel bridges. If the Demerara Harbour Bridge is crashed in by some tug or some boat, which we haven't had a lot of those, we ask Maritime Transport and Harvest to assist. And that is how we work, because we see it as one number. So today, I want to pause here to say that the numbers will reflect what is not just the numbers. Every project will represent either a road in the community, a bridge in the community, some play park that we're doing, some green space that we're doing, some sea defense mechanism that we're maintaining or building new structure. It is all with the view of making people's lives better. and all are intended for good. From time to time, you will see different things happening. In different projects, you might end up with some challenges with certain projects because of various issues. You always have issues to deal with. That is the nature of the job. But we find a way to make sure that we are completed. I think we can be accused of very few things that we have started and not yet completed. All of them, they are works on the way. Some of them are multi-year projects. You expect them to move from 1 year into the next year. So when the report comes and you see a project is partially completed, it's not because the year finish is supposed to finish at the end of the year. These are multi-year projects, so it's expected to go into the new year. But as I stand here, I also want to say that you heard some report from the President at his year-end press conference, and the VP as well at his press conference about the power sector. And what we'll be doing there, myself and Prime Minister and the rest of the team at GPL, GEA, and the Hinterland Electrification Company that have about 7 satellite generation companies in Mali, Latin, Port Kaituma, Magaluma, and so on. Those agencies continue their work. With GPL, as you know, we had some issues with power generation. But now we have brought in a second power ship to deliver 60 megawatts into the grid, and we have constructed for the first time the kind of transmission line that you're seeing with the structure. So the first time seen in that 3.9 kilometers of transmission line constructed in less than 6 weeks. It's never heard of before. To hook up a power ship and to put it into a substation to make sure that we have power for the holidays. So we continue to deal with some of the issues here, the transmission lines, the TAC 10 rolls out, the 8 lots, that's closed and is being evaluated. We have another 10 that is out, that's going to close in another few days for dispatch of that power and to offload some of the feeders that are taxed right now. Some of the feeders, they're really taxed. They're carrying bulk power more than they're designed to carry, and that is because of the growth in some particular areas in the country where we have existing feeder lines where we have to develop new ones to offload some of that power. So the generators that the President mentioned about, I met with the management and the board of some of the company that manages the power, PPDI and so on, in Barcelona. Yesterday I met with the management team to get an update and to get a schedule of the intended overhaul of some of those engines that went past the hours that were due for overhaul, simply because we did not have extra power, so we had to just maintain those engines to carry us through until we had this additional 60 megawatts from the second power ship. So we have a plan of how we're going to bring down these engines to make sure that we still have enough capacity to generate, but at the same time maintain the engines whilst we have this capacity. Because as new house area, new housing, new businesses, new hotels, everybody who brings something, power is needed. The country is growing at an exploding rate, and the energy demand is also growing at a very rapid rate. So I would like to pause there now and hand over back to for her to continue this response. Thank you.
Thank you, Ministers Edgel and Indar, particularly for contextualizing the Ministry of Public Works work program, especially in the greater development strategy of the government of Guyana. I invite the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Vladimir Prasad, to make his remarks.
Thank you, LC. All protocols already observed. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Just to start you off by putting into context the framework under which the Ministry of Public Works operates and also executes its mandate. I know many of you are accustomed to seeing our logo modernizing and transforming Guyana, and that's been the short hallmark of what we're trying to accomplish. But we do have a very strong, robust mission statement that encapsulates what the entire team of the Ministry of Public Works are doing, inclusive of all respective semi-autonomous agencies. So I just wanted to bring this to you to have a context under which we operate. And it's a mission that we stick to it. We've been able to accomplish many of the goals I will bring in detail shortly. And that mission is to serve as a standard bearer in the provision of modern, reliable, and resilient public infrastructure, and to coordinate, regulate, and implement civil works that advance the transformational development of Guyana, while ensuring safe and cost-effective transport of people, goods, and services, as well as the promotion of sustainable economic growth and quality of life through an inclusive, citizen-centered approach. Might sound a lot, but that is what we do. And we execute our program on the three main pillars, three main programs. That is our policy development and administration, our main program, that is the public works program, and the third, which does a lot of the aerodromes and services aspect, that's the transport program. It is gone through several, as seen in the back, heads of departments for several of our semi-autonomous agencies. Some who are responsible for regulations and policy, such as Maritime, the Aviation Authority, the Sea and River Defense Board, and others who are responsible for operations and services, such as Transport and Harbours Department, the Guyana, Giant International Airport Corporation, the Harbour Bridge Corporation, the Canal Ferry Services, and the Guyana National Shipping Corporation. Additionally, we have several other departments that are housed within the ministry and executes this program within the ministry, and that is the Sea and River Defense Department, the Special Projects Unit, and the Government Electrical Inspectorate. Ladies and gentlemen, this year has been a year where the ministry received its largest appropriations as a government entity. We started this year with a original or approved appropriation of $236 billion, $246.1 billion, of which $224.892 billion were capital appropriations. And this represents the largest amount within our budget, since we are heavy in the context of our implementation of the public sector investment program. Our current budget appropriated is $11,260 million. At the end of the year, our revised budget in terms of what was appropriated through supplementary provisions, we had a revised budget of $245,131,731,000. That was a revised budget. Ladies and gentlemen, our expenditures this year accumulated to $224.6 billion, represented by $12.5 billion in current expenditure and $222.092 billion capital expenditure, of which $175.6 billion were expended on the local side, and 46.4 billion were considered for foreign funded projects, or expended for foreign funded projects. In totality, we have a 100% expenditure ratio for our current expenditures. We had a 95% expenditure ratio for our capital budget, which included a 85.1% execution rate for our foreign funded projects and a 100% implementation for our local budget, giving us a total revised expenditure of 96% expenditure overarching for the year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is extremely phenomenal, and it represents the highest execution ratio as a percentage for the ministry, with even its largest budget ever. This is a representation of the amount of work that the ministry is involved in. And to put it into context, we've had approximately, and to put this, had over in, and I can give you a simple scenario. In 2019, the ministry just processed about 2,543 transactions on the BSI program, and another 850 for current. In 2024, we have processed over 26,000 transactions, 21,000 plus for capital processes, and over 5,000 for current transactions, representing various sizes of projects, and we'll go into further in terms of the procurement aspect. But as Minister Larry alluded to, a large part of the focus of the budget this year has been focused on the smaller aspects in touching the community and having communities involved. And this entails projects from 0 to 50 million, where if you include the PSIP of 3,565 plus projects, we also have another 280 other contractors on the current side. And at the end of the year, through our largest urban drainage program ever implemented, we have over 800 new small contractors added to that process across the country. So that gives you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, of what has been, and we'll go into details with respective agencies and the programs under the WSG, but it gives you an idea as to the scale and magnitude of work that is being conducted by the Ministry of Public Works and executed through its respective subvention agencies and other departments. So I will leave this at this point in time and open the table for others to present on their respective departments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary Prasad. The magnitude of work that the Ministry of Public Works undertakes and the magnitude of the expenditure are not simply numbers, but they also represent the amount of lives of Guyanese citizens that are being impacted. In order to modernize and transform Guyana, the Ministry of Public Works has a number of agencies that work together like a well-oiled machine to execute a number of projects. Please welcome the CEO of the Chevy Jagan International Airport, Mr. Ramesh Gear, to make his presentation.
Good afternoon. I will stand on the protocols observed RDM. Let me take this opportunity to wish everyone in the room a happy new year and welcome the media and all of my colleagues from the ministry. 2024 has been an extremely successful year for the Guyana International Airport. As I go through these slides, you will see that we've had success in several areas. On the financial front, this year, I think I'll follow here. On the financial front, we had revenue of 5.2 billion compared to 4.5 billion. That is $700 million more this year compared to last year. Our expenditure also increased from 2.7 to 3.9 billion. Sorry, that is mainly because we spent a lot more money on capital projects and supporting the development, the modernization here. Overall, we recorded a surplus of 1.3 billion at the airport. To give you some statistics, passenger numbers in 2024 amounted to 806,830, which is a 17% increase over last year. That means we processed 107,380 more passengers. The growth that we experienced, just to put it in perspective, we experienced a 30% increase in passenger traffic pre-pandemic. Worldwide, we are now recovering a pandemic. It's 104%. So it's 4% over what 2019 was. Guyana is experienced 30% higher. And if one was to look at all ports of entry, we have processed 1,072,000 passengers, with CGI 856,000, Ogle 72,000, Wilson Brick 140,000, and that's 28,000. And I think it's in the news a few years ago when President Irfanali did make that prediction that we will process 1 million passengers by 2025. We actually achieved that target in 2024. I put this chart here because sometimes the chart helps to bring out the growth itself over the years. And if one was to look at arriving passengers from 2020, if you look at 2021, we have doubled those arriving passengers from 186,000 in 2021 to 441,000 in 2024. And if you look at overall passenger movement at the airport again, look at the pattern, 2021, 370,000. 2024, 856,000 passengers. What is driving this growth? Of course, a lot of it is related directly to economic development and all that's happening in the country. In aviation, the studies have shown there's a direct relation between passenger growth and GDP. In terms of aircraft landing, we had 5,083 international aircraft landing compared to 4,341. 70% increase, and this year is unprecedented in the fact that we have 4 new airlines flying the route. It is unheard of anywhere in the region. In this business, we take a minimum 2 to 3 years to attract an airline, and I'll show a slide to reflect that. Aircraft seating also, because we have these additional carriers, we increased seating this year by 247,000 from 1.2 million to 1.4 million. And what does that mean? Additional aircraft seating means there's more choices for passenger and it brings down the cost of the ticket. That's why it's important that we have additional seats. And this diagram actually reflects how we have grown over the years in terms of, just want to make sure the right slide. So you see in 2020 we added JetBlue, 2021 into Caribbean, 2022 Fly Always, British Airways last year. This year we had United, Sky High, Avianca, LIAC, and we already have KLM. And I think you also would have seen in the press a strong indication that it's quite possible to have a Canadian carrier operating sometime next year. And these graphs again, I just show it here to show the growth. If one was to look at seats availability back in 2021 maybe compared to now, 2024, doubled. Similarly, if you look at international landing, how it's grown over the years. This pie chart is a reflection of the number of markets that we were able to access now. And I did a comparison with 2019, and you can see the two pie charts side by side, that we have significantly more routes available to passengers. In terms of the airline market share also, this pie is split up a lot more. We have more carriers operating, and the comparison pre-pandemic 2024, you'll see we've actually doubled the number of airlines operating. On the cargo side, just like passenger, we've had a tremendous increase in the cargo process. This year we processed 13.5 million kilograms of cargo compared to 11.2 million kilograms, which is a 20% increase. Both imports and export. Imports increased by 80%, export increased by 29%. You know, Minister, this is significant because a lot of that increase in export bring in foreign parts to the country, and it's related to agro products being exported. Again, this chart will show, and I show these charts so you can just look at, pick a year and compare to 2024, and you see how we have grown over the years. This is our total import. This is our, sorry, that was the total import. I will now just speak a little bit on the other aspects of the airport. Security, we have successfully been audited by the Transportation Security Administration. This is in relation to all flights that go directly to the United States. This is an audit we do almost yearly, and it's been very successful every time we undertake this audit with TSA. Aviation security training, we now have the ability, we have our own security staff who are fully trained, not only to train our staff at the airport, but we've also been helping the other agency. We did some training at Oval, for example, with their staff. Over 906 persons were trained in various areas. We also trained the law enforcement agency at the airport on the use of the various scanners. In terms of prohibited items being detected at the airport, over 15,000 items, and I really want to commend the security staff at the airport for the work they've been doing. It's broken down nearly 7,000 plus bottles of liquids, gels, things that are not permitted to go on the aircraft, over 483 sharp objects, 7,000 plus powdered substance, and 28 live rounds. These were confiscated during 2024. Another aspect that we are very proud of is our ability to address passenger complaint, especially with regards to missing items. During 2024, we have 499 complaints received from passengers, airport users of missing items. Minister, we're very happy to report that 81% of those we were successfully able to recover those items and give it back to the owner. And they include 121 laptops, 121 luggages, 50 laptop, 36 mobile phone, 34 travel document, several pieces of watches, earphone, duty-free item, and importantly, several $1 million in cash and jewelry. Of course, we can't disclose this information because passengers prefer it to be quiet, but we do a lot of work in this area, and again, the police work very closely with us in helping to get some of these recoveries. For selected passenger, we have processed over 7,000 special selected. It's a way called selective secondary screening passengers that pops up randomly in the system that have to undergo additional security check. On the employment side at the airport, we have processed over 254 more passes. So as a result of the growth in the sector, the additional airline, it creates more employment. So we have 254 more employees at the airport in 2024. Operations, we had a partial emergency exercise, which is mandatory, and we again were certified by the Civil Aviation Authority. To put us into perspective, in terms of international aerodrome, less than 70% are certified by their state. And we have been certified consistently by our Civil Aviation Authorities meeting the standards. We did training, of course, on aviation operators permit. And importantly, where most airports, they have quarterly meetings with the stakeholders, and some instances monthly. We have taken it ourselves to meet weekly with our stakeholders to get feedback to improve the operations. There's several employees training, our staffing also increased, and we have also implemented a program at the behest of Minister Ejel to ensure that our employees undergo medical checks frequently, and we extend that to the red capital taxi also. Digitization is big for us. 90% of our payments are processed via electronic hardly signed checks anymore. Most of our documentation, the billing, procurement, everything is done digitally, including human resource management. Ongoing projects, we would have spoken about this, the new administrative building. It's 40% complete, expected to be completed in June this year. The commercial center and the VIP lounges, those will be completed by April of this year. And the new baggage handling system, we have to do the civil works. That contract, we terminated it, and we're now awarding another contractor to complete those work. The international apron is expected to be completed as resurfacing of the 4-lane parking position on the old apron by April of this year. Looking forward to 2025, Minister mentioned Terminal 2. Vice President spoke about the implementation of the new border control system, which is expected to be completed this month end. We will do works on the runway and taxiway, and of course we'll continue to improve the CCTV systems at the airport. Just a few challenges I want to mention. We had challenges with our major capital projects, some of the poor performance of contractors, challenges with the quality award by the consultant. Of course, there were challenges with procurement and delay in material. As most of the contractors will tell you, labor is a challenge, and some of the projects are actually delayed because of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gear. There is no doubt that CGIA is doing a lot of work in terms of expansion of infrastructure, the movement of people and products, and the training of their staff. Mr. Gear will be followed by the General Manager of the Demerara Harbour Bridge, Mr. Wayne Watson, and he will be followed by Mr. Lander Hughes, the Acting General Manager of the Transport and Harbours Division. Please welcome them. My apologies, we're staying in the vein of aviation. It is Director Egbert Field from the GCAA who is next. My apologies, DG Field.
Thank you very much, and apology accepted. The Honorable Bishop Juan Ejel, Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Minister Deolata Indar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works. And if I did say Minister Ejel, Minister of Public Works. PS, my colleagues, media. It was a successful year for the Civil Aviation Authority and for the civil aviation industry. The authority has continued to carry out its mandate. As you know, we have a specific mandate. That mandate of ensuring safety and security of passengers, aircraft, and airports. For the regulation on the control and orderly development of civil aviation in Guyana and for related matters. I can happily report to you that 2024 there were no accidents or no serious incidents. In completing its task, the authority during 2024 had some major achievements. Seeing we are tasked with regulating the industry, one of the first items was the successful items was the updating and amendment of our Civil Aviation Act 2018. This was successfully done, and also the related regulations which are updated, and all this was done in preparation for not only regulating the industry, but for the ICAO safety audit. We underwent an ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, safety audit. That was conducted in Guyana during the month of June 2024 under the Universal Safety Oversight Audit Program. And Guyana was successful at that audit, attaining a compliance level of 64.33%. They audited 8 areas. But when you take up the number, Guyana's performance surpassed that of the 2007 ICAO audit. And I'm happy to say that we were ahead of the last 4 audits which were done in South America or other South American states. This is a very commendable achievement for our nation. We are above the global average, which is 60%, and my inspectors continue to work in the coming year to have the corrective action plans put in place. Some of the items which were targeted was the employment, the skills which we have, and we will continue to add more skills. In this manner, the international, or I should say the training school, the aviation training school at Tiberi, has just completed what we call a successful Trainer Plus accreditation. Now, having that accreditation means that it will pave Guyana, the way for Guyana to access and deliver ICAO training courses. So we will not only be able to train individuals with, for certified ICAO courses globally or internationally, but we'll also be able to train a lot more of our individuals, our staff at home, rather than having to take the cost of sending them overseas. We have already commenced the operation. Having the accreditation, we've commenced the operation of preparing to launch courses later this month. In moving forward, the industry which we have oversight over, I must say that 2004, we saw 4 new operators applying for their air operator certificate. I won't go into the names now, but they are on the way to receiving their air operator certificate. One large task in terms of the air operator certificate is the Omni, which, having faith in the industry and how the government is overlooking the industry, they have applied to have a local air operator certificate. That shows confidence in the management of aviation within the country. This will aid them with their offshore operation, and also will be added a few helicopters to the Guyana registry, which will certainly assist technical personnel in Guyana to acquire jobs in Omni, just as pilots and also engineers. We've also added 5 new aircraft to the registry, and my staff went to great length to ensure that this was adequately and properly done as per ICAO, having just come out of an audit. We have the new Techno aircraft, which will be added to our registry, the Hindustan aircraft, and we also added 2 other aircraft which are operated or used to be operated in Guyana, but these are new entrants. We have increased our training within the industry. Compared to 2023, we have increased training of technical personnel by at least 30% in 2024. This is to ensure that we have adequate qualified staff to continue managing the company. Also, air traffic controllers being trained by the aviation school. For 2024, we had at least 23 new air traffic controllers trained at that school. The air connectivity, as Mr. Gear spoke of, the authority was tasked with issuing the operation certificate, and I must say that what we did in 24 reflected there was an increase of 250% of that of 23. We added aircraft or organizations, operators, such as Sky High Aviation Services, United Airlines, the Helicraft, LEAC 2020, Air Sucre from South America, Avianca, and Gulliver. That was a 250% increase of certificates we had issued before. We now have 20 foreign air operators now operating in Guyana, and this reflects a 54% increase compared to 2023. With relation to our traffic growth, you have heard from the CEO of the airport, and that, I must say, is a fantastic figure. We have, right now, our air traffic controllers are handling, in terms of overflight, an increased growth of at least 19% more flights overhead than before. The domestic operation is not left behind. In terms of the aerodromes, the Civil Aviation Authority has completed 55 aerodrome inspections, which forms an increase of 64% compared to last year. The offshore helideck inspections, we completed 15 helideck inspections. This represents an increase of 36% over last year. 11 helideck approvals were issued, an increase of 83%. And we continue to look into 25 with even moving past this in terms of figures. The last helideck which was inspected was the new FPSO, which is now in Singapore and is being completed. Not leaving aviation safety, security behind, we have completed over 26 security audits, an increase of 18%. We conducted 43 security inspections, which is up from 37, an increase of 16%. And in terms of security tests, this is when you test to see if equipment, dangerous equipment can pass through the scanner. That is up, we increased that by 7, and which reflects an increased percentage of 157%. Now, being all interested in drones, I know I get a lot of call in terms of drone permits, the amount of drones within our country. In 2024, we added a 20% increase. There was a 20% increase in the conditional approvals for drones. And at this time, there are 993 drone operators in Guyana, which reflects a 16% in relation to last year. We're continuing with our air navigation services and ensuring safety. We completed the installation of a Cat 2 automatic weather observation system at the Chedichagan International Airport. And this is so that weather can be reported on a more regular basis. Standard. The future looks extremely bright for us with a lot of work, but you will be kept informed, and should you require any details on this data, I think you'll be able, I'll be able to send them to you through the Minister of Public Works. But that has been some of the jobs done and tasks done by the civil aviation, as we look forward to 2025 for a security audit by ICAO. Minister, thank you very much, and to His Excellency for giving us the necessary support and tools to ensure that the authority completes its mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General Field, for all of the work that is being done to keep our skies safe. I'll remind the heads of agencies that their presentations should not exceed 5 minutes. The General Manager of the Demerara Harbour Bridge, Mr. Wayne Watson, will be next, and he will be followed by Ms. Yolanda Hughes, Acting General Manager of Transport and Harbours Division.
As I said before, all protocols are already in play. Good afternoon, all. Special thank you, ministers, for your stewardship in 2024. The Demerara Bridge has been established as a very critical link to region 4 and 3. And also provides necessary support from our side. The great growth in our national spectrum. Traffic management at the Demerara Bridge, whilst it is not a secret that is very challenging, I believe we would have delivered. I can tell you this much, Mr. Indar is one of the persons who will ensure from time to time that we're not finding ourselves somewhere. For the reporting period, we saw an increase in 2.9% in vehicle traffic. And this is totaling from east to west, not the total, if we should query that. It's about 11,491 vehicles. And it's despite we had 15 more interruptions, traffic interruptions due to accidents or someone out of fuel. That is common now. Or the lady had a truck, entire gearbox fell on the bridge. 6.8, which is equivalent to 284,000 increase in traffic volume when compared to 2024 to 2023. One thing I need to also bring to the floor is the intervention by government last year to ensure that the retractor span was replaced. And we saw an increase in 49% in special crossing, which equivalents to about 3,498 special crossing. And these are vehicles that are above the 18 metric ton limits. So once you're above 18 metric tons to 24 metric tons, those vehicles are classified to be special crossing. And that figure would have risen to 46%. And this is November. December is the number. When we put all the numbers together, we added. Also, most of these crossings are done in the night, which are reference to 96.5%. So most of our special crossings are done nightly, just to ensure that we do not interrupt traffic flow. When compared 2023-2024, we also had an increase in vessels transiting the retractor span. 13.3% increase in vessels, and these are both ocean and coastal vessels. These are vessels that will bring in fuel, aggregates, and other materials that are used to fuel our rapid development. Despite the number of vessels that have increased, we were able to manage or reduce our timeline for retraction. About 20% reduction in time. Folks who normally transit the bridge may not know or are not conscious of this, but every moment of the opportunity we have on the bridge to manage our interruption to commuters, we seize those opportunities. For financial, we have an increase of 11.7%, which by the end of 2024 compared to 2023. A total of 78.5%, which is equivalent to $885 million. Marine toll, 4%, which is about 4.7 million. The new introduced breeze pass, that also contributed by 11.2%, which is about $12 million. And special crossing, which contributed for 4.23%, $4.5 million. Other works that we would have done throughout 2024 year included rehabilitation of 5 bridges along the, as Mr. Indar spoke to just now. Ministry of Public Works, we lend assistance to the Ministry of Public Works, and we repaired 5 bridges along the Schools River and Mount Pent. We also lend assistance to TNEG to repair the spans at Torrica and Superman Ferry 7. We updated in-house for the 2 buoys. We installed and we updated 32 rehabilitated buoys. We also lend assistance to the community of Kokwani through the intervention of the Excellency and Social Community Schedule related to we updated that pontoon, the barge in Kokwani. We remove and install 28 re-updated pontoons. When you guys are traveling the bridges, the bridge is not away, but we are doing work. Night or day, we are doing. 5 transom beams were replaced. 450 deck plates were rehabilitated. 35 end posts were replaced. 118,000 feet of anchor chains were replaced. 1,000 feet of wire ropes. So the Bridge will continue to lend support to our sister agency while we commit to ensure that the new bridge become a reality while we maintain and upkeeping the old one, so that interruption of road, commerce, social life, and activity will not be interrupted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Mr. Watson has been a faithful steward of an aging bridge, and so to reward his diligence, there will soon be a new bridge. Please welcome the Acting General Manager of the Transport and Harbours Department, Ms. Yolanda Hughes.
Good afternoon, Honorable Bishop Wanejo, Minister of Public Works, Honorable Yoda Dindar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Mr. Daniel Pusala, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Public Works, all the senior heads of agencies, chairpersons of boards, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. And a happy new year to each and every one of you. Please excuse the voice, I'm fighting a cold. So, the end of year review for Transport and Harbours Department. TNHD has been in operations for the past 80 years. Critical transportation services to the people living in the riverine communities, and also network connections between regions 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as region 7, and to a lesser extent, regions 5 and 6, where we have a water taxi service that caters for movement of mainly school children and pensioners. And I must add, free of cost too. The fleet currently operated by Transport and Harbour Department includes 7 ferry vessels, that's MVs Makora, Kimbio, Canal, Sabanto, Borima, Malali, and Malaysia, as well as 2 barges, that's MV Sandaka and MV Hercules. The services provided are the Parika Supanam route, Parika Leg 1 Fort Island, Vietnam, Parika Bartica, and from the Georgetown end we have services to Port Kaituma, Marijuana, and Kumaka. In 2024, the total number of trips made by all the services provided by TNHG was 5,034 return trips. And that's 5,034 return trips. We had accounted for 1,965 was the Parika Supanam route, 744 trips from Parika to Leg 1. Parika Wakanam was 315 trips, return that is. Parika Bartica, 296 trips. And in our best services, we had 38 trips. And now to inform that in 2024, TNHD has safely moved via all its services a total of 401 passengers, 141,867 vehicles, 241,235 tons of cargo, and that was movement over the 5,038 trips for the year. Now on the Parika to Supanam service, this is where we had most movements of the variables I just mentioned. Excuse me, in 2024, we moved a total of 319,764 passengers. Vehicles for the year under review was 108,232, which reflects 11,313 increase over 2023. And in terms of cargo, in 2024, on the ferry route, Parika Supanam, we would have moved 177,868 tons of cargo, which reflects a 28,264 tons more than 2023. And I'm also pleased to inform that for 2024, the Parika Supanam service made 1,965 trips, and this records the highest trips ever between Parika and Supanam, and it also reflects 303 trips more than the previous year. As shown on the slide, there is a slight decline in the passenger movement on that very route, and one may wonder how is it we did 303 additional trips and we would have moved 11,300 more vehicles, but we have a decline in passengers. Now that is because there are often times when we are required to move vehicles and not passengers. There are times when we send the boat empty from Parika because there is a buildup of traffic at Supanam. So you will see the increase in the vehicle movements and not necessarily in the passenger, as reflected on the slide. So the contributory factors to these increases in the movements of passengers and vehicles, basically, mostly the online booking platform, which has significantly changed the travel for passengers and has helped us to better organize and plan our operations, where we are able to increase trips and, of course, reducing passengers' inconvenience and their wait times. I would also like to inform that the inclusion of the MV Hercules has positively impacted the movement of vehicles and cargo on the Essequibo routes. Here we have just a few photos depicting the MV Malaysia. Excuse me. Financial operations. TNHD's revenue for 2024 was 1,207,886,399. And this reflects a 6.99% increase over the revenue generated in 2023. So it's actually TNHD's highest revenue earned from the movement of passengers, vehicles, and cargo to date. The expenditure for 2024 was 1,244,481,040, and this reflects a decline in expenses by 2.08% over the 2023 figures. Sterling rehabilitation. Emergency repairs were executed to both the Purika and Supanam link span bridges. Excuse me. Rehabilitation works were done to the Supanam Stelling, where we would have changed out a few fender piles and did some repairs to the side loading facility. There were also repairs to the administrative building, security hubs, etc. Emergency rehab was also effected to the main tip approach to Purika Stelling. And we've also executed repair works to the Canal ferry Stelling. So the other sides are just pictures of ongoing works. Projections for 2025. Excuse me. The Leg 1 ferry Stelling was completed in July of 2024 and remains to be officially commissioned, which would more likely be done in this year. And the new part of the Stelling will be operational in February of 2025. The Goods Wharf, which is another mega project, is slated for completion by the second quarter of 2025. And in Region 1, we have the Port Kaituma Stelling, which is slated for completion in the second quarter of 2025, while Kumak and Marwana are projected for completions by the third quarter of this year. Once these infrastructure are completed, there will be a complete revision and improvement in customer service and operational efficiency, including new systems to improve domestic travel and the traveler's experience altogether. And finally, I'd just like to inform that in 2025, we have 4 vessels that are slated to be docked: the Makora, Malali, Sabantu, and Kanwan. And there's also 3 new wooden cargo boats, which will be added to the fleet of TNHD in 2025. Also in 2025, the public can expect enhanced operations and customer services provided by Transport and Harbour Department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. Sometimes we take internal travel for granted. We are preoccupied with what's going on at the airport only, but a lot of work goes into keeping the vessels on the water, so thank you, TNHD. And when Ms. Hughes says that these vessels will be docked in 2025, it's to let you know that these are scheduled dry docking exercises to maintain the vessels. So we hope not to see glaring headlines about our boats breaking down. These are scheduled dry docking exercises, okay? Please welcome Director General of the Maritime Administration, Captain Stephen Thomas, and he will be followed by General Manager Harry from Canal Ferry Services.
Thank
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Honorable Bishop Juan Ejel, Minister of Public Works. Honorable Leonard Indar, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works. Permanent Secretary, other heads of agencies, colleagues, members of the media. The Maritime Administration Department is charged with the responsibility of ensuring safety in our waterways. Also, from an operational perspective, to ensure the port operations, the marine operations of the ports are done safe and in order. Continuing this trend that my previous presenter, Ms. Hughes, spoke about, I'll start with that to continue with the movement of passengers. The Maritime Administration Department regulate all vessels. We inspect them, we certify them, we continuously monitor their operations. I just want to highlight the fact that during the past year, 2024, a total of 9.385 million passengers moved on various services via the water taxi ATS speedboats. This is a tremendously important aspect of our regulation, as they carry the most precious things about the carry, which is people. So we leave no stone unturned in ensuring that they're safe and they're in proper use, proper condition for use. The biggest contributor, of course, is the Guyana ferry service with over 8 million persons. Actually, that translates to over 24,000 persons a day using it on average. The Maritime Administration Department, despite our best effort, vessels do get problems, and during the past year there were 9 marine fatalities. There were 11 the previous year. All lives are precious, so it means that we still have to redouble our efforts to ensure that this comes down to zero. The Safety Department of MARA, we continuously do outreaches to all the various communities that have marine space. All the regions, we do safety awareness session, that is training the personnel, lecturing them, distributing life jackets to school children, showing them the proper use. And in that regard, during the past year, we distributed over 300 life jackets to various schools and other persons in Guyana. From the operational perspective, the Maritime Administration Department, that is the Ports and Harbors division, we have 9 vessels in operation. 8 in operation, we have 1 that is at the Maritime dry dock. It's been there for a while. Nevertheless, we have 8 in operation. We constantly have to invest to maintain and to keep it in operation condition. The government of Guyana, through the leadership of His Excellency President Ali and our 2 subject ministers, have been lending tremendous support to MARA. In this regard, MARA has purchased 2 new pilot boats. They are currently being built in France, and they're expected to arrive here before the end of the year. Similarly, the department has a tug that has already been constructed in China by the Dutch company Damen. That is, it's on its way to Guyana, I should say. It's expected to arrive here before the end of the first quarter of this year. The government has also invested in us to build a hydrographic surveying vessel. This is going to enhance our capability to serve all of our waterways. Off the coast of Guyana is tremendously busy now, and we have to ensure that everything is properly surveyed and properly marked. We have a number of submarine cables. We have the gas to energy pipeline. these areas, we have to ensure that they are properly charted, that no ship make contact with them. We've already acquired state-of-the-art hydrographic surveying equipment. Actually, the government has given us some equipment that we're so proud of. We had like the UK, this is United Kingdom Hydrographic Office, other parties were searching for objects that they couldn't pick up, and our latest equipment was able to pick them up. So we're so grateful that the government is supporting us big time in this regard. On the subject of wrecks, thus far we have removed 14 and a half wrecks. I use the word half because the contractor, which is Paul from the Netherlands, they've thus far on the wreck number 15, they close off to go on their annual Christmas break. But it's 17 of them. This exercise started in 2022 and it's continuous. It might be argued why it takes so long. Most of these wrecks are out at sea, and the removal of them are tremendously dependent upon the weather. If the weather is bad, then we cannot work. So you have months that nothing is done. But we're so proud of these wrecks, ladies and gentlemen. The removal of these wrecks is that there are some wrecks were since in the 1960s. Some in the 70s, some we don't even know the age because our records don't show them. But all of them are being cleared. We currently prepared here at Maritime, we're doing an animation, which we, of course, cleared with our minister. We're going to show a before and after picture of how our waterways were littered with wreck. In most of the maritime and nautical publications, Guyana was considered like an unsafe port because most ships arriving at our fairway buoy, they had to keep very, very far from it because there were a number of wrecks there. All of that, those already gone, all of them gone, finished. So we're very happy with that. And we have some more that we wish to remove, but the major ones are those in Guyana or East Channel. They're gone, or in the Warwick State instance, they're going to be going to move soon. The reason, in addition for this, the traffic has expanded tremendously. The channel has to be beaten or widened, and with all these wrecks being removed, we could not have done that. Both His Excellency, the President speaks about this, the Honorable Vice President speaks about it, and ministers, both Indara and ministers, speaks about this, about the demands of the channel and the shipping. So these wrecks, the removal of these wrecks gives us that capacity now, and gives ships the capacity and the confidence so that they can come safely to our ports. The traffic, as I alluded to, thus far for the year, for 2024, our records show we have 2,867 ships called at our port. And this is January to November. When we look at 2028, it's 3,208. The numbers in relative may look low, but the ships that are coming are extremely larger. So they're bringing much more cargo than before. For instance, the cargo throughput at the end of, up to the November this year, it's 105, for containers, thus far it's 105,000 TEUs this year. If you look at 10 years, like 5 years ago, it was just 78. We expect by the end of this year, when the figures are in, it will be about 100 and it will be like 120 thereabouts. So it's a tremendous, substantial increase there. The vessel traffic, they also, as mentioned, they also increased. It's on average for the past 4 years, it's increased by 16%. That in the number of vessels coming to Georgetown and Guyana as a whole. MARAD is also responsible for search and rescue. This is done, of course, with our partner, the Guyana Defense Force Coast Guard. They're the ones who deploy the units. But we respond for coordinating, not just contacting the ships, or the ships contact us, and we contact the Coast Guard and the chain of events. We have currently a very rudimentary system, but thanks to the government has, we've recently signed a contract to the tune of $150 million to establish a modern maritime rescue coordination center. This is going to be fully equipped with all the communication equipment that are fitted on all seagoing ships, so that in the event they have a problem, emergency, a sick person, or weather conditions they need to find out, they can communicate with that center. That is scheduled to be completed before the end of this year. Aids to navigation, we've received a lot of support from the government in terms of aids to navigation. For 2024, we built 28 new beacons in the Guyana River operations. This is to facilitate safe navigation in the upper Guyana River, particularly for oversight, which has expanded its operation, and also for the vessels filling gas, the energy project. We've also deployed buoys in the Guyana River, and also we have a hydromet buoy which we deployed offshore also to measure current, wind, etc. Finally, by our offshore operations department, which MARAD overseas, we ensure the vessels are inspected, all the vessels that are going to the FPSOs and also the FP themselves. We do the annual inspections and audit, and all is fine. Thank you.
Thank you, DG Thomas, for the extensive work being done by MARAD. I just want to inform you that we have light, emphasis on the light, refreshments at the back of the room. So if you need some juice, some tea or coffee, please feel free to help yourself. Please help me welcome Mr. Kevin Grimond, the Chief Electrical Inspector at the Government Electrical Inspectorate. Oh, my apologies, this keeps happening. It is Mr. Harry from Canal Ferry Services Inc. and Mr. Grimond. Mr. Grimond, you can come and have a seat at the back to make it smooth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Ministers, Mr. Waneja, Mr. Diolatinga, PS Radimsa, fellow colleagues, members of the media, good afternoon, and greetings to you all for the new year. My task is to present to you our year-end review report for the Canal Ferry Service for the year 2024. And so the Canal Ferry Service remains a pivotal role in linking our two countries, Guyana and Suriname. And we provide river transportation and services to both passengers and vehicular traffic. And we also accommodate some amount of cargo, which is traversing between the two countries. And so for the year 2024, our traffic report is, our total passengers moved in 2024 were 114,389, as against 97,333 in 2023, an increase of 17,056, or 15%. There were 57,752 arrivals, while 56,637 passengers departed in 2024. For vehicles moved were 19,721, as against 15,973 in 2023, an increase of 3,748, or 19%. There were 10,048 arrivals, while 9,673 vehicles departed in 2024. For our income, the total revenues earned through the sale of passenger tickets in Guyana and US dollars increased by 138,819,480, or 44%, and US 15,320, or 16.73%, respectively. This represents a movement from 176,843,146 in 2023 to 315,662,626 in 2024, and US 76,265 in 2023 to US 91,585 in 2024. Additionally, income is also earned through our canteen operations and is deposited into a separate account in the name of Transport and Harbours Department, Inc. Income for the year 2024 was $45,562,467. Canteen operations. Expenditure. The total expenditure increased from $143,762,838 in 2023 to $204,860,295 in 2024. This has been mainly due to increase in repair and maintenance and our wage bill. Total canteen expenditure was $33,992,068 in 2024, which means that for our profitability in the year 2024, both income and expenses would have increased. However, it must be noted that the operation remains an economically viable one, since the excesses of income over expenditure reflects a net profit of Guyana $110,225,941 and US $91,255. When aggregated at the rate of 209, will give you a grand total of $129,298,236, or 41% profitability. Canteen operations also reflected a net profit of $11,570,399. We have undertaken two major infrastructure works, which would be the renovation to our stelling, and also we have also undertaken the renovation and the modernization of our washroom facilities, which to date has been 60% complete, and we are expecting same to be completed by the close of January. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harry, for being prompt, and I'm very impressed with the revenue from the canteen. Let me just say that we may have to start having them cater some of our events. Please welcome Mr. Kevin Grimmond from the Government Electrical Inspectorate.
All protocols observed. I will be representing the Government Electrical Inspectorate this afternoon. Let me just give a short insight to who we are, since I always like to take the opportunity to do that. So, the Government Electrical Inspectorate is a safety body within the Ministry of Public Works. We are the industry's electrical safeguard and regulatory body. Our role is to protect against electrical hazards, unsafe and unsound electrical installations. The main functions are inspection, testing, and electrical installations, issuance of certificates for code-compliant electrical installations, and the licensing of qualified electrical contractors. In terms of electrical inspections carried out in 2024, we would have received a total of 14,306 electrical inspections. We've completed 13,476 of those inspections. Doing a comparison for the last 2 years, 2022 to 2024, we would have completed 7,468 inspections in 2022, 13,764 in 2023, and 13,476, as I just mentioned, in 2024. There was a huge jump from 2022 to 2023. We would attribute that to mostly the completion of numerous housing schemes, apartment buildings, and also industrial complexes. As I would have mentioned earlier, we also issue licenses. The total license we would have issued would be 124. Now, these licenses are issued to competent electrical contractors capable of carrying out their jobs to the GI satisfaction. In terms of additional projects that we've carried out, the GI works in close collaboration with other government entities, especially ones that would have carried out large electrical projects or are in need of electrical assistance in terms of overhauling their buildings or getting it safe for employees. Some of those buildings that we have assisted with are Materials Management Unit, the Ministry of Health, Guyana location, the Tamari Control Tower, Guyana Wildlife Conservation and Management Commission, the Ministry of the Presidency, Deeds and Commercial Registry, Ministry of Education, Teaching Service Commission, Potential Secondary School, and Freedom Primary School. Reports will be compiled and sent to the relevant authorities when it comes to these. We also assist in overlooking the execution of works when requested. Also, the GEI would have reviewed the electrical schematics and preliminary inspections carried out. It was carried out on 6 new hospitals that are under construction. There was also an electrical seminar that was carried out with the CH and PA technical staff. This was to ensure that all works carried out were up to code and all individuals will be safe once they move into their new homes. Finally, the 2025 projections. So the GEI plans to launch an electrical contractors licensing program, which will be done on the online platform Coursera. This is in collaboration with the Board of Industrial Training, Ministry of Labour. There will also be the launch of MMG payment method. So this method will allow licensed electrical contractors to pay their fees for inspection in a fast and easy manner, allowing the least possible disruption in their day. It will also help us to process applications much faster. There will be a launch of quarterly sensitization seminars for electrical contractors. This will be based mainly on educating our contractors on findings that we will see every quarter, letting them keep them up to date to what is going on with the new code implementations and such. Finally, there will also be a contractor lookup tool which will be launched online. This will be for the general public. It will allow any individual to go onto a site, type in their area, and then see qualified electrical contractors in that area. This will ensure that the right persons get hired for the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grimond. We certainly look forward to the enhancements that will be made by GEI. Please welcome Mr. Rory Ramdas. He is the plant manager at the government asphalt plant.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. All protocols observed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you I'll be in that lot of time. The DHB asphalt plant has consistently increased asphalt production to meet the growing demands of the Guyanese market, operating from its primary facility at the Garden of Eden location and subsidiary at Friesland, West Bank, Demerara. The plant has expanded its capacity over the years. In 2023, the asphalt plant produced 95,000 metric tons. In 2024, that figure rose to 119,000 metric tons, a 20% growth. This growth was driven by a surge in road construction and repair projects undertaken by the Ministry of Public Works through its work services groups and special projects unit, which remains the plant's largest clients. The plant's production capacity has also been bolstered by the construction of a barge landing facility at our Garden of Eden location. This new infrastructure enables alternative methods for the supply and delivery of aggregates, further enhancing overall efficiency. The plant's looking ahead, the asphalt plant is committed to further increasing production to keep pace with the rapid expansion of Guyana's road network. However, the plant has faced challenges, including global shipping disruptions that have delayed delivery of imported spares and bitumen. Despite these obstacles, the asphalt plant continues to rely on its most valuable assets, its dedicated employees, to ensure the reliable and efficient supply of asphalt in 2025 and beyond. Thank you.
I think I have a special prize for Mr. Ramdas for being so efficient with his use of time. There are just 3 presentations remaining. Please welcome the head of the Special Projects Unit, Mr. Colin Gittins.
Members of the table, colleagues, members of the media, good afternoon. I am tasked today with presenting to you the year in review for the Special Projects Unit. To give a general overview of the Special Projects Unit, the Special Projects Unit is an execution arm of the government. I like to break it down 2 components. We have one component where it is the execution arm where we employ directly skilled and unskilled men and women to execute road rehabilitation, maintenance, and road construction. We also have the contractual arm where we employ small to medium contractors to execute road maintenance, which will include reading and cleaning of road shoulders and also maintenance of roads via use of asphalt and concrete, etc. The Special Projects Unit has grown over the years from a small maintenance department to what I like to coin as or we operate as a state-owned contractor. We provide assistance to our sister agencies and also other ministries such as the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, Guyana Police Force, etc., etc. So for the year 2024, we have implemented our projects under 3 main programs: maintenance of roads, which is our core program on the current head. We've also executed programs on under the hinterland program, and the miscellaneous and urban roads program. So I'll touch first on our maintenance roads program, which I said is our core program. Under this program, we had a budgetary allocation of $4.2 million, and I've noticed we have expended on the maintenance road program. For road maintenance, which includes patching, overlays, and so on, we have expended approximately $2.8 billion. And under this item, works were done via the special projects unit and also small to medium contractors. Under the weeding and cleaning program, which is weeding up the road verges, cleaning the medians, and so on, we have expended a sum of $1.2 billion. And this was done solely or mostly through small contractors. We have employed about 120 contractors, and through this program, we've also employed more than 1,000 persons to execute this item. We've also purchased materials for the maintenance roads, and these materials were mostly used by the execution arm of the Special Projects Unit, and it's in excess of $1.2 billion in road building equipment, which is mostly asphalt and concrete. For our Hinterland Road program, this is a special program that was signed by the government to provide employment, training, and create opportunities for persons in the hinterland community. And in this program, the ministry provides all the materials, tools, equipment, salary, monuments, training for persons within these communities, and we utilize them for construction of roads within their respective communities. We have implemented this program in 3 communities so far, in 2 regions, Region 1 and Region 9, and the communities where we work are Whitewater, where we are tasked to complete 2 kilometers of rigid concrete pavement works. So far, we have completed approximately 1.6 kilometers of rigid pavement in that area, and we're looking to wrap up the rest before the end of February. We have employed over 52 local persons and provide training for them, and also provide the tools and salaries and whatever they need. So we have to complete this project. In same Region 1, we've started works in Waramuri. We have not started physical work, but at this point we are removing utilities such as pipelines and utility poles so we can make way for the construction of the road. We have employed about 50 persons in the community and have provided the same as we have provided in Whitewater. And we have, in Region 9, Yarparu, we have started construction of 1 kilometer of road. Also there we have employed 32 persons for the implementation of this project. And our largest, where we place most of our efforts is on the miscellaneous roads program. On the miscellaneous roads program, we have completed a total of 384 roads in various communities, on the east bank of Demerara, east coast of Demerara, in Georgetown, on the west bank of Demerara, and we have completed approximately 130 kilometers of road work. To give some insight on what is actually 130 kilometers, that's easy to make the time. I'm taking the time from we have, under the maintenance, under the miscellaneous roads program, we have paved 62,000 tons of asphalt and concrete, which amounts, as I said, to approximately 130 kilometers of road. And if I may give life to that, to bring a visual representation of what this stands for. And forgive me for using linen as a benchmark, but I'm linen, so I'll use linen. So that would be equivalent to paving from Parliament Building in Georgetown, that's the Sylvie side, heading all the way up the East Bank, down the Linen Highway, and to the junction at Linden. That is only about 65 miles, and we've done equivalent to 80 miles, which far surpasses 65 miles a mile. This is a lot of paving, by the way. We've employed, for that execution of that project, about 2,075 trucks to implement that program. Now, this is only under the miscellaneous roads program. We've also did a lot of work on the maintenance roads program, where we've extended or paved about 10,000, approximately 10,500 tons of asphalt concrete, and employed about 35 trucks. We employ trucks to implement our programs because, of course, of the large scope and thereof. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gittins. The men and women of the SPU work late at nights, early in the mornings, all across Guyana, and so we appreciate the work that they do. Please welcome the Managing Director for the Guyana National Shipping Corporation, Mr. Indar Haral Singh, and he will be followed by Mr. Ron Rahaman, which is the final presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. All protocols having been observed, presenting the 2024 highlights and accomplishments for the Guyana National Shipping Corporation Limited. The GNSC, as a semi-autonomous and multi-purpose port, plays a critical role in Guyana's economic, supply chain, transport and logistical infrastructure, and in facilitating trade and commerce and employment creation in Guyana. 2024, despite the challenges, was a very successful year and a year for record growth in revenue, profitability, cargo throughput, vessel calls, operational efficiency, customer satisfaction, workplace safety, and good corporate governance at the GNSC. The financial report, our numbers. Revenue increased by 11.5%, and that is budgeted $1.8083 billion, and we will achieve, as of end of November 30th, $1.208 billion. That's an excess of $125 million. Expenses were reduced by 6.7% over the budgeted sum. Profitability of $396,191,000, and that's before tax, an increase of 85.36% over what was budgeted. We continue to maintain a strong and solid balance sheet, positive equity, good liquidity, and excellent fiscal health. We are optimistic that we will surpass the 2023 when we recorded a revenue of $1.3 billion. Already, up to November, we will have surpassed the profitability for 2023. Operations. Increased cargo and trade volume. Cargo throughput. For the first time, we would have achieved a million tons of cargo in 2024. And to be exact, 1,014,000 tons versus 610,000 tons in 2023, a growth of 404,000 tons or 66%. Aggregates. We would have discharged 761,322 tons of aggregates in 2024 versus 376,659 tons in 2023, a growth of 384,663 tons or 102%. This is a major contribution to national development by being the preferred discharge port for aggregates and helping to keep the price of aggregates stable for road building, for construction, for housing, etc. Cement. We would have discharged 165,000 tons of cement in 2024 versus 123,868 tons in 2023, a growth of 41,132 tons or 35%. And that's a record in terms of cement tonnage handled at the port. Vehicles. The whole car carrier calls at the Guyana National Shipping on a monthly basis, sometimes 2 times per month. We would have discharged for 2024 a total of 8,512 units, and that includes cars, buses, trucks, canters, heavy equipment that comes in for road building, construction, etc. Versus 6,120 units in 2023, a growth of 2,392 units, or 39% increase. An average of 709 vehicles per month, or 24 vehicles per day. This volume is projected to increase by 50% in 2025. Vessel calls. 207 vessels were berthed at the Guyana National Shipping Corporation versus 155 in 2023, a growth of 52 vessels or 33.5%. Berth occupancy remains at 100%. We also transport bulk sugar from the Berbice estates, that's Claremont, Albion, and Rosal, to the Demerara sugar terminal, and we would have transported a total of 18,106 tons. And we would have transported more, but Albion estate did not work for scrap, and then Rosal focused on packaged sugar. Ship agency services. A total of 342 vessels were attended to, against a budgeted amount of 312, an increase of 10% for the year 2024. Ship and cargo surveys. The Guyana National Shipping Corporation is the only Lloyd's insurance agent in Guyana, and so we did a total of 46 cargo surveys and 47 ship surveys, and a total of 53 clearing and forwarding transactions. Office and warehouse rental is one of the core services we offer as well, and we would have achieved an 87% occupancy rating. Accidents, incidents. There were 7 minor industrial accidents. The GNSC continues to be or to offer a safe work environment and is committed to a safety first mindset and attitude. Industrial relations continues to be stable, and I must mention before I close, governance, audits, and compliance. Our annual audit for 2022 has been completed, AGM held, and report laid in Parliament. Our 2023 audit is nearing completion. A board charter was approved. We will have joined the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute as a member. We were recertified at ISO 9001-2015 in September of this year, and we maintained ISPS certification and compliance. We are optimistic that we will achieve all the targets that we will have set for 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harold Singh. We do not take for granted the magnitude of work that is done by the GNSC. Mr. Ron Rohaman, the coordinator of the Work Services Group, will make the final presentation for this afternoon.
Good afternoon, all protocols observed. First, let me take the opportunity to wish each and every one all the best for 2025. The Work Services Group is the agency tasked with executing the vast amount of civil works within the Ministry of Public Works. Just to give you an idea of the areas that I will be covering my presentation, we talk about roads, bridges, sea and river defense, enhancement and waterfront development, inland airstrips, street lightings. I will then talk on the major transformational projects, the works that are being done by our Maltese Laboratory, the 2020 to 2025 manifesto promises. I will leave that to Minister Edgell. I will then discuss our challenges that we encounter in 2024 and what we can expect in 2025. Now, the chart above shows the number of roads we would have done from 2020 to 2024. And I put a small insert here to show the comparison when the NDS, the National Development Strategy, was produced in 1999 to 2000. It would have shown the total amount of roads paved and unpaved, amounted to 2,500 kilometers. Aggregated between 2020 to 2024, we have done a total of 4,322 kilometers of roadway, just to give an appreciation of the volume of roads that would have paved from 2020 to 2024. It's double what the MDS would have stated in their report of 2000. This is just the table that would have generated that graph. Now, under the roads program, the ministry has several road programs. I will just talk about some of the major ones. Under the main and the public and main access roads, that is where we would have completed Cemetery Road, Warsaw Onboard and the Harbour Road. We've completed this Conversation Free Bypass. We've completed Warsaw on the Lam Street. We've completed 7 kilometers along the Blackbush Polar Road. We've done works on the Myconi Branch Road, the Hope Access Road, Lima Sands Access Road in Region 2. Under the Fire Access Roads, we've done 3 kilometers of work on the Hubu Main Access, 1 kilometer of work on the most quick to the Eldorado Road. This is the road leading to the proposed Quarantine River Bridge. We've completed 11 kilometers of roadway on the Sandhills to Macquarie Road. Under the Hinterland Roads program, we've completed works in Region 1, 7, 8, 9, 10 as listed above. Under the miscellaneous road, my chart is slightly off, but we've completed 3,300 projects in 2024. In terms of bridges, from 2020 to 2024, the graphs indicate the number of bridges we have completed under the capital, which is rehabilitation or reconstruction of bridges, as well as maintenance of bridges. We have completed a total of 150 bridges under the capital program and 66 bridges under the maintenance program. Just to give you an idea, we have completed 13 bridges along the Bugor Hill to Letten corridor, 4 bridges along main access road, Canal number 1, Canal number 2, Bellevue, community bridges in regions 2, 5, 4, and we would have also done emergency works, Stanley Town Bridge, Collegiate Bridge, and we would have done 4-lane bridges, 4 bridges between Better Hope and Annandale. And these structures does not include structures that are covered under main rehabilitation road works. For example, the Letten to Bugor Hill Road that have its own set of structures. The East Coast Riding Road, there are structures. The Quarantine Highway, there are structures that are being done. But these are just structures that are done under the capital bridges program. Under the CMA defenses, from 2020 to 2024, we have rehabilitated or constructed 25 kilometers of sea defenses, and in terms of the maintenance program, we have completed 298,000 kilometers of maintenance of sea defenses as shown in the chart. The slide there just gives the idea as to where those projects are completed. So I won't go through them, but it can be presented for the details. In terms of policy directive, the CMA Vigilance have the active CMA Vigilance Board. As always, I want to talk about the shoreline monitoring and surveillance. An updated CMA Defense Condition Survey was initiated in 2024, and towards this, all field works were completed within-house by the Sea Defense Rangers, and currently data compilation and analysis are being finalized. As I mentioned, the CMA Defense is governed by the CMA Defense Board, and in 2024, the board has undertaken policy discussions on a number of critical issues, including the illegal occupancy on CMA Defense reserves, protection of natural flood protection systems, sustainable development of waterfront spaces, institutional capacity and strengthening building for coastal minefield, impacts of aquafarm development along the Quarantine and West Coast Corpus shorelines. In addition, a total of 18 applications for major waterfront development works involved in the construction and operation of port docking facilities were reviewed by the board. It must be noted that the updated Sea and Defense Act of 2024 was enacted by the National Assembly on May of 2024. Also, regulations under the Sea and Defense Act 2024 for mangrove protection and conservation were approved by the Minister of Public Works on December 23rd, 2024 and was gazetted on December 28, 2024. To touch a little on the enhancement and waterfront development, we did enhancement work and green spaces along the promenade with amenities along the Daly Street, Campbellville, also referred to as Conversation Street. The children play park in the National Park was also done under the enhancement program. Food court and art gallery at the old train station terminal at Lamhart Street is currently under construction. There's the Anna Regina Recreation Park, Grove Diamond Recreation Park, Tushin Recreation Park, and Lenovo Recreation Park. Ongoing waterfront development projects are taking place at the following areas: Unity Beach, Mahaica, Oakham, Retreat Beach in Leg 1, Castive, Metimesa, Region 3, Wisma and Spikeland in Linden, and number 63 Beach on the Quarantine. It must be noted that some of these projects are being executed in collaboration between the Ministry of Public Works and the Office of the Forest Lady, His Excellency Area under the National Beautification Project. In terms of hinterland airstrip, the chart shows the number of airstrips that would have been awarded and the number of airstrips completed between 2020 to 2024. We've completed a total number of 11 airstrips. The remaining airstrips are expected to be completed in 2025. Under the street lighting program, at the end of 2024, the government has control over 13,915 street lights, and at the end of 2024, 83% of those street lights were functional. I must also state that the government is also in the procurement stage to procure 100,000 street lights. I'm going to talk briefly on the transformational projects, starting with the government office complex, which is situated as Hatsbush on a 13-acre plot of land. It consists of 4 towers, 12 stories each, with a capacity of 6,000 staff. One of the amenities is also have a helipad on the ground floor, central utilities complex, and the completion date for this is September 21, 2026. To give a quick status update, the project is approximately 10% completed as against an 80% plan. All the legal and preliminary works have been completed. Master plan and concept designs completed. Foundation design set and structural design sets completed. Geotechnical investigation has been completed. Land clearing and sand filling completed. Piles and structural steel procurement completed. What you can see physically on the site, there are 15 14-inch by 14-inch piles at the 120 feet long on site, and these are for the construction of the helipad and the utilities complex. 10 number of piles are already installed for utilities complex. 31 numbers 16-inch by 16-inch and 24 numbers 18-inch by 18 inches piles are also on site for the construction of Tower 1 and Tower 2. Going over to the new Narragansett crossing, just to give a quick idea. A quick update is a fixed high-level bridge with 4 vehicle lanes. It allows for uninterrupted passage of the handyman's vessel. Completion date is set for August 31st, 2025. Just to give an update, the construction progress is 61.72%. All the temporary trestle bridge and the working platforms are completed. Drilling shaft at the eastern end is 78% completed. Drill shaft on the western end 100% completed. Eastern approach piers 50% completed. West approach piers 87% completed. The main tower legs 78% completed. Main tower cross beams 50% completed. Fabrication of precast girders on the eastern side 24% completed. On the western side 22% completed. Installation of the precast girders on the eastern side 6% completed. On the western side 30% completed. Approach roads on the eastern side is 60% completed, and on the western side is 46% completed. The new Mackenzie Ridge Bridge is a precast post-tension concrete box guarded bridge with 4 vehicle lanes, 2 barriers separated pedestrian walkways. It allows interrupted passage of hopper barges. Completion date is set for April 7, 2026. Status, the project is 31% completed. Design aspects are 95% completed. Construction project progress 22% completed. The bypass road is fully completed. Offices are 100% completed. Assembly of the temple trestle bridge is 100% completed. Construction of the laboratory 100%. Test pilots 100% completed. The procurement of the materials are currently ongoing. On the new Demerara Bridge is a design and build 4-lane fixed bridge. The pre-qualification process has been completed. Comment on the Linden to Bubudu Middle Roads. It's a 125 kilometers of 2-lane highway upgrade. It will have an asphalted concrete surface. The last revised completion date, October 29, 2025. Status is 33% completed. Time loss 75.31%. In terms of physical progress, they've completed 30.5 kilometers of weighing course, and they've completed 43.5 kilometers of binder course. Physical progress, as I mentioned before, is at 33% completed. The East Coast Road Upgrade, which is a 40.35 kilometer of roadway between Sherry Street and Orange Nassau. Of the 40.35, 30.85 of that will be a 4-lane roads. So from Belfield to Orange Nassau on the existing roadway will be 2 lanes upgrade. From Sherry Street to Enmore on the railway embankment is going to be 4 lanes. Enmore to Orange Nassau on the railway embankment will be 4 lanes. Orange Nassau to Mahaika along the existing road will be 4 lanes. The revised completion date is October 31st, 2025. Status, the physical progress is at 44%. Time elapsed 75.31. Physical progress, they've completed in terms of asphalt work 30.9%. Sand filling subbase 30%. 50% of the bridges are completed. 60% of the home canal bridges are completed. 50% of all culvert works completed. Relocation utilities are at 35%. The East Coast Bypass Road, which is a 7.705 kilometers of 4-lane highway connected from Ogle to Eccles. It has a 3.58 kilometer connector at the Hushbush, which is at Eccles. Physical status, the project is about 92.5% completed, and the project will be completed in the first quarter of 2025. The good success to Timeri Road upgrade is a 24 kilometers of 2-lane upgrade. Physical progress is about 5%. The project completion date is March 31st, 2027. If an updated design has been completed for Section B, approval received for relocation of utilities in Section B6, and there is currently a construction of a culvert in the Suicide area, which commenced on December 4th. The linear Suicide Highway is a 72.42 kilometers of two-lane upgrades, which includes two roundabouts. There's one at the Suicide Junction, and also there's one at the Linden. Physical progress 5%, time elapsed 16.5%. Project completion date September 4, 2026. Currently, the survey works is 95% completed. Clearing and grubbing along the alignment is 97% completed. The contractor mobilization is ongoing, and this is being done at 3 locations: Malwini, Long Creek, and Lodosha. The contractor was given approval to proceed with 2 kilometers of the text section. Going to the Sandhills to Macquarie Road link, it's a 42 kilometers of two-lane road from Tineri, Sandhills, to Falls Mouth, and then you can go on to Bartico with a crossing up the Delaware River and one along the Essequibo River. Also with a reinforced concrete bridge across the Macquarie River. Physical work along this alignment is 50%. The work is being done by a phased approach, and works the complete alignment is expected to be completed in August of 2025. Physical progress, surveying 65%, clearing and grubbing 100%, 26.5 or 63 kilometers of the total length has already been upgraded to a ferry. The Pumico Ocean Road is a 60 kilometers of two-lane upgrade, and this is taken from an ordinary embankment of Ferry Road, which runs along the east bank Essequibo River. Along this corridor, we have 6 concrete bridges to be constructed. Status, physical progress, 20% completed. And again, works is being executed in a phased approach. Clearing and grubbing of the alignment is 100% completed. The Maritime Highway is a design, built and finance project, 84 kilometers of 4-lane. Also, there are 2 bypass roads around the township of Rose Hall and Rivertown. The works are divided into 3 lots. Contracts have been signed. Surveying works are ongoing. The Schooner to Pumico 4-lane is a 32 kilometers of 4-lane. Proud to say that bids for the construction of the structures along this alignment will be available from mid-January of 2025. My colleague from Transport and Harbour will touch on the wharfs and standings, so I won't touch on these. The Charity Wharf, which is a wharf, a new modern design wharf for the Charity Parkwood River in Region 2. It requires river reclamation. It has a loading ramp, waiting area. Contract has been signed in December of 2024 with the duration of 24 months. The materials laboratory plays a very important role in ensuring quality is maintained at the ministry. The chart shows from 2022 to 2024 there's been an increase in the number of testing from 30,000 in 2022 to 23,000 in 2024. It should be noted that the Ministry Materials Laboratory has commenced the assessment for the ISO 17025 certification. During that assessment, there were some non-conformances that were identified in the Ministry's currently working to have those addressed. As I said, the manifestos, I will leave that to Honorable Minister Edgerton. Some of the challenges we had in 2024 whilst executing the project, I was mentioned before by some of my colleagues, inadequate human resources. We have stiff competition from the private sector, especially oil and gas sector. In terms of execution, a vast number of projects, there's always been a challenge with vehicular fleet. However, I must say that in 2024, the Ministry of Finance would have provided us with vehicles to assist with this. In addition, we also rented short-term rentals. We do have some amount of challenges with new contractors and inexperienced contractors. In the hinterland location for the construction of hinterland airstrips, hinterland roads, we do face challenges with logistic challenges. Getting materials and equipment to some of these areas was a challenge. We did have some amount of shipping delays. One of the big one is the irresponsible road usage, especially the hinterland area where the roads are unpaved. You have drivers carrying excessive weight, not only on hinterland roads but on all roadways. Portions traversing unpaved roads in wet condition, making it very unsafe and causing tremendous damages to the roadway. As much as Minister Edgley in his opening remarks would have mentioned the MOU with utilities, and we do have a good working relationship with the utilities, on some of our projects they still pose some challenges. For the miscellaneous road, we've got with a huge amount of concrete roads. At times we do have challenges with the timely supply of concrete for these roads. And in some of the hinterland areas for roads and airstrip, once more we do get challenged with getting quality materials within the project area, so it requires large amount of transportation in some areas. 2025 expectation, on a broad area, we're going to continue to work on community bridges. We're going to continue to ensure that the CMA defenses are protected. As I mentioned before, street lighting, we currently out for 100,000 street lights. Pedestrian safety, safer roads is very high on the priority, as much as we have all the accidents from our side. From the technical side, we're going to continue to design and put measures in place to ensure pedestrians are safe. We're going to continue to work on hinterland roads, hinterland airstrips. This year we're looking to have the engineering and architecture build table. So to continue on some of the transformation project, we're going to see significant progress on the office complex. We're going to see the construction, the completion of the East Coast corridor. We're going to see works on the Linden, Moboy Hill goes progressing. We're going to see works on the Kingston seawall. My colleague would have mentioned the dredging of the Delmar River will continue. The new river crossing should be completed in 2025. Hinterland roads and airstrips continue to be a top priority. Mr. Gee from the CGI would have mentioned about the modernization project. And we also expect to have the Kubika started in 2025. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rahman, and thank you to all of the heads of agencies, programs, and departments. I hope that you now have a deeper understanding of the magnitude of meaningful work that the Ministry of Public Works undertakes on a yearly basis. We accept the fair and honest criticisms, and we are working on our challenges, but these must also be balanced with highlighting the success stories and the important work that the ministry has been doing. Minister Edgley will now make closing remarks, and then he, along with Minister Indar, will take your questions. Please indicate the media entity that you are representing when asking your questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harry. We took our press conference this year in different style. And I hope members of the media who call me 4 or 5 times a day will be not able to call me for the next 2 months, because you'll be digesting all that was said here and you'll be probably putting it into perspective. The magnitude of what the BPPC administration is doing must be appreciated. When Mr. Rahman told you that we have built more than 4,200 kilometers of road, let me give you what that means. Driving from New York to Miami, drive from Miami back to New York. Then you take another trip from New York to Miami. That is the length of 4,200 something. Check it in Google and you'll be able to understand the magnitude. Mr. Gittins was telling you about what special projects unit did in terms of 82 miles, and he gave you a scenario of leaving Pardon Village and getting all the way to the Basement Bridge, and that's 65. You have to add to that to make it. So sometimes people define what the administration is doing by the pothole in front of their yard, which will be fixed. It's just a matter of getting there in a timely manner, and we miss the big picture. The second thing I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen of the media, and to all of them, please go back to the PPPC's manifesto. What we said we will do once elected into office. When we got into office, that manifesto, which some people would have considered a political document, became a social contract. Contract between the PPPC government and the people of Guyana. And I have the report, we can check all the boxes. Whatever we said we will do, the answer is yes. And we have not only done yes, we have done more. Not promise. This is housekeeping, and maybe we passed the hour. But I can give you an example. If you go back to the manifesto, you will see that we said we will do 2,000 kilometers of inland roads. We've already, in 4 years, surpassed 2,500 kilometers. So we promised in 5 years we will do 2,000. We are already in 4 years, 2,500 and beyond. In our manifesto, we said we will fix and build the new Demerara River Bridge. The new Demerara River Bridge is under construction. You got a report. We never said we will build a 4-lane bridge between Rismont and Mackenzie. That is under construction. We should get it by October of this year. We didn't say that we will build a new Barbies high-span river bridge resembling that of the Demerara Harbour Bridge. We've already shortlisted the pre-qualified contractors, and we're going out for the price quotations for that. We have done more than we have promised. And like I have said, at the time of the campaign, we were saying, put us in, we will do this. That's those promises. President Ali and his team viewed that when we got sworn into office as our social contract. In terms of community roads, you heard the figures. Because people don't just want to drive the nice big highways, and when you get off those highways to get into your communities. We have literally taken people out of the mud. We've gone through the math, and when we aggregate all that we would have done over the years, including what the special projects unit would have undertaken, we would have done more than 8,000 projects in terms of communities. More than 8,000 projects. And in some instances, at one walk, the entire community. Right now in Parkway Harmony, we're doing 25 kilometers of access through the special projects unit. We've completed all the roads in our Whitestone, Charlestown, Lodge, Rassville, Roxton, Burnham Gardens. We did the same thing at Melanie and Guyana. We have done all in Drumville. That is the nature of what we are doing. We didn't promise Aubrey Barker into a 4-lane from the roundabout all the way to Ogle. Every contract that lands at Ogle is already being executed. Most people would like to remember the poles that fell. But in a very short time, you'll be able to move from south all the way to Ogle without having to come to the front. We are continuing the project of moving the East Coast East Bank into Lake Road, which is being undertaken by Ashoka Bilban from India. We're now moving past Eccles to get all the way up to Diamond. We're looking at all of the designs. So I am proud that after 4 years, what we said we will do, we have delivered. But not only have we delivered, we have done more than we promised. And I thought That will be my closing remarks, and then questions. We are ready for your questions. Thank you for your patience. Yes, hands going up all over. It looks like you're in church on the Sunday. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Let's take the lady first. I'm extending courtesy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Edgel. You spoke extensively on with these contractors that are not only behind schedule but are also doing sloppy work.
Well, the first thing I would like to say is that the majority of the contractors are doing good work. So don't define Guyana's development by the few that are left behind. I would like to defend our contractors because we have said over and over our contractors are partners in development. They're part of Guyana's development. Many of them are Guyanese, and about 30% of our contractors are women. So you should also take note of that, and they've been doing very, very well. We have literally taken all of the young people from the University of Guyana's Civil Engineering program, all those who are at the Government Technical Institute, whether part-time or full-time, to help serve as clerk of works, to help with the managing along with our engineers in the projects that we have countrywide. So while we have qualified engineers with experience, we've engaged all those second and third year university students and students with diplomas out of the Government Technical Institute have been engaged. So monitoring and managing projects have been significantly enhanced by added resources. Mr. Rahman has also indicated that we have become more mobile, so it's easier now for our engineers and clerk of works to get from one location to the other location in a swifter time. We've had to increase capacity at the lab to do testing to ensure we get value for money and quality on our roads. President Ali has left from the front, and I guess most people would have seen the rebukes and the exhortations to do better as it relates to the few lagging contractors. And we are continuing to work with them. And when you do the ratio, it's a very small ratio. It's a very, very small ratio. And some people will only see the negatives, they will never ever see the positives. But I would like to personally thank the thousands of Guyanese contractors, small, medium, and large scale, who have engaged the government of Guyana and the PPPC administration, whether it's building schools, roads, bridges, hospitals, police stations, wharves. You just go across the country, somebody has described Guyana as a construction zone. Everywhere you go, work is being taken place. And somebody would like to remember, there's a school that's not finished and named by the name of Bamia, but I don't want to talk about the 35 or 40 that's already completed. Somebody would like to talk about Cemetery Road, which was delayed, but they wouldn't like to talk that Conversation Tree, even though we had to terminate a contractor, the local contractor that took the project brought it in months before his contractual time, and even without cutting off a ribbon, it was open and people were using it. We don't even have the time to celebrate a ribbon cutting ceremony or opening of a road. From the time it's done, it's done. Dennis is all around town, so he knows exactly what we're talking about. When you go across the country, you see that. So we've employed more, we've put more resources, we are grooming a lot of our young people, our senior engineers are mentoring the young engineers, and we're seeking to do much, much, much more. So that will answer your question. The amount of non-performing contractors is less than 1%.
Good afternoon, Milton Burnham for Oilo. Can you say what were some of the challenges that caused the delay with the new Harbour Bridge? I have about 12 questions, right?
Well, it is no secret. The new Demerara River Bridge which we were all anticipating that we will get by March 31st. The major problems there is that we just can't do more than we are doing right now. Even if I put twice the amount of workers on the project, we still have to wait in terms of time for concrete to cure. It's a cable stay bridge. The Chinese contractors and the locals that are working here work Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Old Year's Day, New Year's Day. They never stop working. And I'm not making excuses to contractors here. I'm just stating the facts. We just, in the last couple of months, was able to successfully deliver the right-of-way from the East Bank road to the water side, to the contractor. And I didn't want to go heavy political. But the lawyers and the quantity surveyors who hiked those residents up were all political types, some of them members of parliament. And they wanted to stall the bridge so it wouldn't come in before our term is finished. It was a big political move by members of the opposition to use residents. And you know what is the reality? Let me tell you what's the reality. Some of the people ended up getting judgment at the court less than what the government was offering them. And I said it in the parliament a few weeks ago when we had a sitting. That is the level of representation that the AP and UAFC give to people. We are building a four-lane bridge to benefit them. And we have lawyers and quantity surveyors who gave them valuations at inflated figures and is holding out. Some of the persons walked away from the lawyers when the judges started giving judgment and came to settle with the ministry. By the 19th of December, every check that was to be paid for compensation to everyone was prepared. And still the lawyers were telling some people not to collect their checks, because the judgment in the court order says from the time of payment, 2 weeks to evacuate. We should have had that everything cleared by December 31st. It was a big political move to stall the construction of the bridge in terms of timelines. We have successfully overcome that by responsible action. You saw politically people put on the social media how I was bullying a woman to move. Yes, Rickford Burke and others put that up. You know what's the reality? That woman didn't even have a title to that property. She don't even have legal rights to that property. We were offering her land with title. And they were telling her, no move, because if she don't move, the bridge can't build. There was another person there who was living on the government reserve. We offered him title land and money to move. They tell him not to move. You know what the judge said? You're going to get money but not title, because you don't own land. It was on the reserve. He lost land because of that opposition, lawyer and quantity surveyors who were trying to hike them up to block the bridge. So if we're going to talk about the delays of the bridge, it's the local politics of division and destruction that is seeking to hinder Guyana's development. We have been able to work with the Chinese and salvage the timelines, put things in place, and we're going to get this bridge. So let's move on. Next person, let me come back to your 11 others. Let's get others out there.
All right, let me ask one more. Can you say, you spoke about the amount of marine traffic and so on, but can you say how much of it is related to offshore operations?
Outside of regular commercial container traffic, bringing goods and carrying out goods, most of it is with the oil and gas and the expansion of what is taking place in our EEZ. DG Towns, we have a number? We'll get a number for you. Get a microphone, Minister, see that. Well, come to the podium. Let's see if we get it now or what.
So the applications that would have come to Maritime for like in water activity permits and notice to mariners and so They have between the tugs, the supply vessels, the drill ships, all of the construction vessels, the PSVs. I think that total is around 108 vessels that continue flying and applying. That's all port. Yes, but most of those are the gas vessels. They come and they go to the selected port by the operator, whether it is Gisby or it's over by outside the area exposed or it's at Beshi. Those they would dictate where it goes. The balance goes to the remaining ports as containers come. Huh? Oh, FPS is a one-time thing in. When you have the one-time thing in, that is the only time you will do the notice. And you do the water activity. The one that went to Singapore recently, that's a new one. What's that? The FPS that went to Singapore.
You know when it was being built over there?
No. I think you misunderstand your own question. So this, when it's in Guyana's maritime space, that is when the application will go to Mara for the water activity permit.
So, yes, let's move on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Committee, so to start with news. I have a couple of questions, but two main questions.
So, the number that Mara gave was about, so the offshore supply, they have like stationary about 100 and something vessels. But every time they go in and come out, it counts as a whole car. So that represents 1,427, right? Right? 15-57%, right? Yeah, around 50%. Those, so a single vessel will go out here and come back all the time, based on, how they schedule their operation. But every time it goes up and coming, and they call to the lighthouse, they will record. Right?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Start with news. Your ministry was criticized by the Auditor General's department over its handling of the central contract with Avinash Contracting. Can you say what steps are being taken to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
The accounting officer, which is the permanent secretary, will have an opportunity to explain to the Public Accounts Committee and all of that his response to the Auditor General's comments. So that will happen at the appropriate time. But I can tell you up front, the Ministry of Public Works, recognizing that this was a project that was failing and being of significant inconvenience to the residents as well as the general traveling public, made certain interventions. And those interventions saw us bringing the Cemetery Road to completion. Now, the Auditor General have concerns. We will answer those concerns at a particular time, but I can tell you what we did, and it wasn't any private thing. We brought in subcontractors, and we did particular sections of the work, because delivering the project to the beneficiaries, the Guyanese people, for us was number one. So, and the Auditor General has an independent office, and we respect that, and at the appropriate time we will answer.
All right, so my other question,
I just want to add to the response. The Cemetery Road project is not a systematic thing that we have in the ministry. Right next to the Cemetery Road is Independence Road, which we completed 1.8 kilometers on time. The Cemetery Road project has own peculiarities, but how happy are those now to finish it and driving on it? Because I drove on that road now.
It's one of the most used roads in the city.
That's why
all right, thank you for that, Minister. Now, my other question, as it relates to contractors again, your ministry, has any contractor been blacklisted due to poor work?
The ministry don't blacklist contractors. It's the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board or the Procurement Commission that have the authority to do that. But what the ministry does is that when we are dissatisfied with we have what is called poor performance or bad performance, we notify those entities and they take particular action. And as a member of cabinet, who still have a right to object, because contracts come to cabinet for no objections. If we know that we have an non-performing contractor, and it comes to an objection, we have a right to say we're objecting, and then the tender board would have to take the necessary action from there. But what we would have done, I think your question is, how many persons would have had to pay liquidated damages because they went over the time and all the rest of it? P.S., you got a number of how many contractors with liquidated damages? More than 60 contractors have had to pay liquidated damages. More than 60. But we're talking about 6,000, 4,000, almost 5,000, right? So let's keep the math in mind. Yes, next person.
Good afternoon, Crystal Young with Persian News. Minister, can you provide a name for the contractor for the charity wharf and the fixed contract sum?
The charity wharf, the contractor is S. Jagmohan Contracting Services, and I think the contract sum is $880 million.
Secondly, how much has the PPP administration invested in the modernization of CGIA since August 2020?
Total, we'll get that number for you, the modernization, we'll get that for you. Okay. Now, we're talking here outside of the 138 plus 12, the 150 million US CGIA modernization, or you're still talking about that? Let me just, I tell you this forever on the CGIA airport, so they don't understand. There was a 150 million project that is finished. That's finished. We're not on that project anymore. We are building out an admin building, which is removing all the staff from the airport proper across the road so we can have that space for waiting areas, concessions, lounges, and the rest of it. We have expanded with more airlines coming, so we're building out an airline office building and for concession areas for them to have their bonded warehouse. Since that project was completed, what Mr. Gere was talking about is the baggage make-up area, so we can get your baggage faster to you and all the rest of it as a separate project outside of the 150. We are right now where the aircraft park and oil drops and all the things take place. It has badly deteriorated. That happens in every airport. We are right now have a special project where we're removing that and we're putting in rigid pavement, and that project is ongoing. So if we can do the numbers so we can tell them what we're doing right now.
Approximately $3 billion we spent on the other project.
$3 billion have been spent on the other projects outside of the 150 million. And please, in your story, remember to tell everybody that when we came into office on the 150 million project, we got the Chinese contractor who we were not satisfied with to put in at no cost to the government the corridors to the 2 additional bridges so that we can take in Code D and Code E type aircraft, and to put in a superstructure for the commercial center, which is being completed right now, at no cost to the government, but at their cost, because we weren't going to accept the airport the way they were giving it to us. Please remember that. Yes, Dennis.
Yes, Minister Dennis Shabbat, sir, can you see what is the government's position with respect to the possible sale or contracted arrangement for the Guyana ferry service? This is in the context of a proposal that is, as I conveyed, or is pending by the Suriname Guyana Chamber of Commerce. And secondly, is there an update on the report of the GDF helicopter incident?
All right. Firstly, the Canal ferry service is a contractual agreement between 2 governments. It's not a contractual arrangement between private sectors of 2 places. It's government of Guyana and government of Suriname. The Canal ferry service, of which I've been subject minister overseeing, and my colleague in Suriname, have never discussed privatizing it. It is a government-to-government arrangement, and it's part of the standard the SDP, I try to remember, dialogue between President Ali and the President of Suriname. I've read in the newspapers of a proposal for privatization. But I can tell you, while we await the Quarantine River Bridge which we already have an evaluated preferred contractor, and the only thing that is required is financing. We have given policy direction to the Canal ferry service to modernize the facilities there, to manage the increased traffic, and to improve what is taking place there. And those are instructions that have been given to the board and to the general manager. So we don't have any plan at this time of privatizing that. Secondly, concerning the GDF helicopter crash, I did make a public announcement that in keeping with the regulations, the draft report was sent to all of the stakeholders for comments. They have until January 10th, 2025 to make their comments. When those comments come, if there are any serious concerns to be adjusted, that would be made, and then the report would be published in keeping with Article 13 for all to see of the ITO, Article 13 of the ITO regulations. And by the way, our report was completed in record time compared to other jurisdictions. As a matter of fact, when we approached the NTSB for assistance with readings and so on the equipment that was sent for interpretation, they gave Guyana priority. And in many instances jumped what was already in the system to facilitate what Guyana was requesting. So the National Transportation Safety Board of America did lend great cooperation to the investigators and to Guyana as a country, knowing how important this matter of this helicopter crash where we lost some of our finest soldiers on board. Yes, next person.
Luan Williams, DPI. Sir, Mr. Passat mentioned that 800 new small contractors were added to the system last year. Sir, can you say how much were added to the system since 2020?
800 small contractors on the current side.
Correct.
Suppliers. Just one off. The 800, let me express this. The 800 you're referring to is dealing with drainage across the country in an urban centers, in terms of an urban drainage and road program. Normally, the ministry would take place of drainage in Georgetown. Period. They would do the silting. Some people would never recognize the guys would go down in manholes with buckets, go into the tunnels, take out all the silt, put them in trucks, and remove them to prevent flooding. The 800 that he's talking about is that we have done work in Madia, Mabaruma, Letem, Linden, Anna Regina, Partica, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall, and Corributa. And that's what he was talking about. So we've added that to what was already taking place. Yes. Next person.
Minister, can you tell us what was can you tell us what happens with the old Harbour Bridge once the new one comes into place? Also, you spoke about let me go with this one. 2 questions. Can you say when the ED farms will come on stream at the CJIA?
You're asking a question that the President has already answered, so we don't repeat that. I'm a minister of the President's Cabinet. I can't give a different date to the President. He has instructed the Commissioner of Police, which is the Chief Immigration Officer, to make sure that this happens in the month of January. The GCA and the CGI will work with those instructions. They are part of one government. As it relates to the old Demerara Bridge, no final decision has been made as yet. But there are a number of things that could happen there. It would not be needed where it is. But there are other places that need it. And I can just make some suggestions. A crossing at Kokwani, joining Leg 1 and Wakenham, crossing the Kanji Creek at number 52 or number 58 to open up new farmlands. It's a big bridge. What's the length, Mr. Watson? 1.2 kilometers. At one time, persons were talking about 600 meters would be needed at Burukari to make the road 24 hours, but I think we will go with a solid cast structure there. So there are lots of possibilities. And that is why we did not shy away from building up the new span 9, or span 9, and not the new span 9, because we know once we transition to the new bridge, that new span 9 could be used in several different places. But no final decision has been made, but it will not be scrap iron. It will be part of enhancing Guyana's development. Yes.
Good afternoon, Minister Kajo. Tricia Silvers, Guyana Times. Can you say who are the 3 companies shortlisted for the new Berbice River Bridge?
The 3 companies?
Shortlisted.
I think it's more than 3.
Yeah, the quarantine.
No. The Quarantine River Bridge already has a preferred contractor. China Road and Bridges Corporation has been evaluated as the #1 bidder. So that is that. We have gone out for expressions of interest for the Berbice River Bridge. My procurement manager might help me here. It's handy. We have 5.
We have 7.
7 pre-qualified.
Out of 9, 7 pre-qualified.
Out of 9 submissions, 7 are pre-qualified, and they will be asked now to price. So technically, and these are all international companies, including the Chinese, and they will be asked to put in a price proposal so we can move ahead.
And the public process.
And it is also area, because that section of the road is being done through the Special Projects Unit of the Ministry of Public Works. We already have how many contractors? 6 contractors through a process have already been awarded. So that will be undertaken by the government of Guyana. Good success to Miri will have 2 lots. And we are currently working in one of the lots where the designs have been approved. 3 lots. 1 approved and 2 to be approved. Thank you. And remember, it's a design build project. So the contractor has to design it, then the consultants have to go through the designs, approve it, and then give them the permission to build. Yes, next.
Hi, Minister Sabatis here again. My question is related to the Northwest Ferry. Some concerns have been raised as relates to the schedule. Why is there no fixed schedule for persons? And my other question, as it relates to the Stellion, Port Kaitoma Stellion, and the completion for that.
All right. So, there was a time when you could have said the ferry will leave on Monday, and 2 weeks' time it will return. And then the 3rd week, it will go back up. The demand, it will be almost on a touch and go basis because of the demand. We are making more trips than what used to happen before. We used to make like 2 trips a month. We used to make 2 trips a month. How much we making a month now? Christmas we made 5 trips. So what we do, we announce publicly so people could get themselves, and remember we have online booking now. So from the time you announce we have online booking that you will be able to get it done. And I need to add to this, right now, the MV Kimbia is coming out of dry dock. We put in new engines, new generators, because we're dedicating the MV Kimbia just for cargo. Just for cargo. There have been issues with business people in the region. Some people's cargo getting on board, some people not because of timing, because the volume. Government's interventions in the regions, agriculture in the region is growing, so the movement of cargo has increased exponentially. And we have had to make a decision. The Kimbia, which is the bigger boat that used to be there, we've done some reports. It's kind of slower, but cargo could take a little less time, but we're getting it fixed. Concerning the Port Petrus Delegate, so we've had the propaganda mill that was out there seeking to destroy everything that the government is doing. A contract was awarded for the construction of the Port Petrus Delegate. That study was practically completed. And while we were finalizing the driving of the piles, what they call the sheet piles or the marine piles towards the front, there was movement in the earth. So we stopped, went back, get geotechnicals done. The contractor did everything according to the instructions of the consultant that was established in my office with all the technical people. So the contractor did what he was told to do. The consultants designed the project and supervised it. The movement of the earth, because there was a crack that developed in the soil between the building and the water side. And when we stopped it, it didn't just stay at 2 inches, it opened wider and it continued. So they had to go back and get the necessary geotechnicals done. We brought in another consultancy, some of Guyana's finest engineering skills that are available in that department, and we have found a solution, and we are now looking at how we will approach that. But the buildings are up, everything is up, the militia is ready to go in, but we had a problem. And we had movement. Now, it could be anybody's guess why we had movement in the earth. But people must understand, and these fine men and women who are engineers that work in the Ministry of Public Works will tell you one of the jobs of the engineers is to find solutions. While people are talking about the problems of what happened, engineers are busy in the design stage, testing, doing the research, running the numbers, running the load weight, running everything to find solutions. So we have brought, yeah? We're going to finish that in a couple of months. We've gotten a solution. And like I said, we have engaged consultants outside of the original consultant, and we have engaged expertise for us to be able to find a solution, and we got a solution.
Minister, could you say why most of the pedestrian traffic lights are not working? What steps are going to be taken to remedy that situation, to improve pedestrian safety? Also, what would be done to address the problem of garbage beyond the seawall? There are usually huge buildups of garbage along the coastline. And thirdly, do you have a plan to regulate the quality of public transportation? This is in light of all of the standards that we're seeing that many of the commuters believe that they're not comfortable.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. Traffic lights, whether for vehicular or pedestrians. Right now, I've taken a paper to the Cabinet, of which the Cabinet has asked the Prime Minister to head a subcommittee that includes the traffic officers from every division and a number of Cabinet members, including myself, Mr. Robson Ben, Dr. Ashley Singh, Minister Colin Kroll, from Housing, and we are looking at an extensive transportation safety mechanism. Traffic lights along the new highways, pedestrian crossings, where we have to put in traffic safety for schools. You will have noticed through our program, main access roads and traffic management and maintenance program, we are putting in geometric improvements to roads with walkways so that the children don't have to be intermingling with the vehicle traffic and motorcycles. So that happened within the last 2 months, and I suspect we'll be able to get it out of the Cabinet Subcommittee for decision, and then we go to procurement and get that done. But then is the real problem that we have is that people are braking as fast as we fix. The amount of vehicles that are hitting traffic lights, it's unbelievable. The last quotation, Ricky is here. The last quotation we had for one of the nerve systems out of Miami for the traffic lights is $2 million. Huh? So sometimes more than $2 million. Yes, more than $2 million just to get the nerve system back in place when they hit these things. And what we've been seeking to do whenever people get into these things, the police charge them, and then we try to get them to pay for damage. You heard the Attorney General spoke about when you damage public infrastructure, you will have they will sue you. But a lot of times these accidents happen, and people just disappear before the police can get there.
But beyond the accidents, many of them are just not working, especially for pedestrians.
Yes, they're not working because they're damaged, and some of them are vandalized as well. Some of them are vandalized as well.
The vehicle ones are working, but the pedestrians aren't working, and you're the same fixtures. So how can you say they're vandalized?
We can look at it, but I'll tell you what we've been doing. The guys have been analyzing whatever is available to fix to ensure that we have, but we have to go out and buy them. We have to go out and buy them. And I know one life being injured or hurt is too long, but in a strategic, holistic manner, Cabinet is considering what we're doing in terms of traffic safety and procurement of lights and the rest of it. So all the traffic officers from every division, the Guyana Police Force will be involved in that conversation, so they have the reports, they have the stats, the numbers, and that we'll be able to work on that together.
And the quality and standards of public transportation.
Right.
What is the judge about that?
So let's start with speedboats.
Especially the roads.
I'll come back to the road. Let's start with speedboats. So we have a consultancy through Maritime, where we're looking at the designs of boats to enhance safety. We have right now, remember that one time in Guyana used to have no boats were covered. They were just open speedboats, used to be related to tarpaulins and so on. We got a design, or we're looking at how we can enhance that. Secondly, in terms of road transportation, buses you're talking about. This government's policy has still remained that public transportation is largely with the private sector. So most of the buses are owned by individuals, and they're maintained by individuals, and they operate. The conversation must advance to the next level about how do we keep standards on these minibuses. Not just in how they appear on the outside, but the facilities that they offer for people to get in, pensioners, children. Government has gone outside of that, Dennis, and ladies and gentlemen. We are buying buses to transport the differently abled. In our last year's budget, there was allocation for that. For the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, wheelchairs for people to get into buses and so on. So, in terms of moving our differently abled persons, we are acquiring vehicles to do that. In terms of the taxis, we did go to the yellow cabs, ensure that we can have better compliance in case anything happens, tracking, tracing, and all the rest of it. It's a conversation that we have to continue. I know Mr. Gear out of the airport has run a very strict shift with the airport taxis, ensuring that persons coming into the country, you could account for anything that happens, the movement of a passenger. There's a system And that has worked very well. A lot of the hotels have done the same thing. And by the way, a lot of the bases, the taxi bases have also done that. So you know, car 12, car 14, people actually call and request particular cars. I know that for sure. But where we have is what you call the hustlers, who are not in a system, not in an organized place where they do what they want. These days when you call a taxi at 8 o'clock in the morning, you could end up with 3 other passengers inside, somebody getting dropped off at this ministry, and everybody have to pay for the same taxi price and the rest of it. So those are things that are happening in the hustle boats, not the hustle boats, the hustle taxis. We got hustle boats at Maritime, and we got the same thing happens with the boats, and the same thing happens with the taxis, but it's a matter of getting that conversation. The other thing that I should say, that before you ask it, is the issue of trucks and overladen vehicles. And we also, that same subcommittee that is looking at the traffic lights, are also dealing with trucks. And we're also developing a holistic plan on the use of our waterways for the transportation of goods and people, of how we can improve it. So those are 3 things at the cabinet level for policy direction. The use of our waterways, we're looking at acquiring more vessels. We're looking at, you heard the General Manager of Transport and Harbour Government acquiring 3 cargo vessels to bring goods out of the Demerara River and the Berbice River. We are at a very advanced stage of getting that done. Last night, while at the football, enjoying the game into the early hours of the morning, the President had me still checking to see what we can do with a particular boat that we're looking at to improve what we can get done, speed, comfort. The time has to come in Guyana's modernization and with our movement in tourism and all the rest of it. We got to look better. We got to do better. The movement of people from the green hoop and starboard stellings, we put in the floating, what do you call it, the floating platforms. We have put one at Supanam. So no matter what is the tide, it goes down and come up with the tide, people can be able to get in a bit more comfortable. But we got to also improve the facility, so we are working continuously on that, Dennis. And thanks for asking. Concerning the garbage out beyond the seawall, any Guyanese who's still dumping garbage behind the seawall could be described as best unpatriotic and anti-national. We have done an enormous amount of work to create, look at it behind the Marriott. Mr. Samad and his team from Senior Events basically created a beachfront for people to go out there, put in all the facilities. We're growing out at Kingston, we're putting in the barriers and the children to be able to walk out and don't fall overboard. So we're putting in some safety walls at the groin. We've put in the bins, we have contractors picking up garbage, we have improved the facilities, but it's behavior, public education and awareness. I guess we got to go on a massive shaming campaign. Minister Ndar, under the guidance of the President and Cabinet, has led at least for 2024 3 or 4 national cleanup campaigns. 9 since we're in government. So it's been an enormous task. Next question.
Minister, can you provide a stats on how many contracts were terminated for the year 2024? I am speaking of specifically about roads.
Contracts terminated, yes. We don't have a number at hand right now, but we can get it. It's not a big number. It's not a big number.
Minister, you mentioned earlier that the ministry is always making moves to empower and engage small contractors. Can you tell me how many small contractors were awarded road contracts in 2024? And by extension, how much was expended to facilitate this?
How many roads? We can get that number for you. Just roads, you want?
Yes, just for small contractors or road contracts.
More than this better. 2,500? Small contractors below 50 million, 3,565. You know? She just wanted roads. There's roads to be true. Yes. And Minister Nair, who likes to play around with numbers, I do that sometimes, is actually saying, showing from the information that was presented, contracts 50 million and under, 92% of all the contracts were 50 million and under. So when you use that group 0 to 15, 15 to 50, it's 92% of all the contractors that have been engaged are in that category. Yes?
Yeah.
Closing now? Go ahead.
I'll ask one last question.
Sure.
You spoke, mention was made of the training that will be launched at the the aviation school. Can you say what would some of the courses be? And would any be related to it? Just tell me the point.
Good. So the Train Air program is an accredited and certified program with an International Civil Aviation Organization, which we call ICAO. We have a training school in Guyana. Every year we've been graduating. I've spoken at graduations here. But these are basically people who are in air navigational services. So, DG, you want to give them the technical terms of ASIO and ASIM and so on, so they know what are the courses about? Because you like to get those details.
Come on.
Come, please.
Some of the training, the air traffic controllers, those who are on, they do approach control training. They also do PNM, which is performance-based navigation. So these are air traffic controllers who are in the system and are doing advanced training. Aviation, information, maintenance, the training. We also have young, new prospective air traffic controllers that come in from off the street and do the air transport control training. So you have new entrants and also those who are inside. With the Trainer Plus program that the Minister has spoken about, we'll be able to do international or global training, ICAO training. And these would be things like inspectors training. You'll be able to include, let's say, from different states, individuals to come and do that kind of training, and it would be accredited or it would be applicable to any state. So this is the Train Air Plus program that we have been accredited.
That's 3 years plus?
Say again?
That's 3 years, you said?
No.
Train.
Yeah, TRAINAIR. Train Air Plus. It's an ICAO accredited program.
Guyana will be presented with her accreditations in February in Dubai. We have already received our invitations to attend to receive our accreditation.
Minister Ejo, you had visited the residents at Sisters Village back in November and had promised to get some work done here at the road at South Pinter, I think. It's been over a month now. Is there any update, or can you speak to that now?
Well, there are a lot of updates. Since then, we have awarded a contract for the upgrade of the entire West Bank Road going all the way into potential. That contract signing ceremony was held at the site of the salvage Stanley Town bridge that was being destroyed. We put in 2 emergency contractors because there was some amount of deteriorating work. But now there is a main contractor that has to take care of everything. The complaints that they're having now is dust. Because once you have pressure run and the place gets dry, you get dust. So we had a dust suppression mechanism. We had to wet the place continuously, just like the people in Friesland were complaining about the dust. We had to get trucks out there to wet. But the issue of the damaged road and people are able to pass, 2 emergency contractors intervene, and now we have a major contractor, which a contract was signed, and that is ongoing. So I think this would bring us to an end. Some of the presentations, or if not all of the presentations that were made, Ms. Elsie Harry, out of my office, would be pleased to send you by email, so you could be able to work for the next 3 months and deal a lot of the stories that will be, and you won't have to disturb me for the next 3 months. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, the listening public, and we look forward, I should say, we thank you for the opportunity of being able to serve you over the last 4 years, and we look forward to serving you this year, and we look forward to serving you 2025, 2030 as well, and beyond, when we will continue to build out a modern Guyana. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.